Chapter 73 First Grade Restaurant vs. Longshan Restaurant 5. Chapter 73 First Grade Restaurant vs. Longshan Restaurant 5. Chase them off. Chase these troublemakers away. Director Xie turned and said to the security guard. He darkened his expression as soon as he heard the comments on the stage. I don't need you to chase us off. We'll walk out ourselves. In any case, the first grade restaurant is going to open soon. A middle-aged man spoke to Director Xie coldly as he walked towards the first grade restaurant. You'll find out who is the best when you walk into the restaurant. How dare you claim yourself as the most generous and luxurious restaurant? Hey, you're far from that. Sigh, I can't even bear to look anymore. The top-graded ingredients of the first grade restaurant were shared frantically on the WeChat feed. 50% off everything in the shop. Even the one-headed abalone that is worth 2 million is selling at half price. They even have 10 two-headed abalones. Some people commented while shaking their heads. They left the place and headed to the first grade restaurant. About 80 people left the place with disdainful expressions on their faces as they commented. Some of the people around were stunned as they had no idea about it. They knew nothing about the top-graded seafood of first grade restaurant and the half-price promotion. After all, someone had only spotted the top-graded seafood of first grade restaurant last night. Despite how fast it was propagated on the feed, many people remained unaware of it. The surrounding people were somewhat stunned as they watched the group of people departing. Just then, the door of the first grade restaurant was opened. Subsequently, they took out their advertising signboards and set them up in front of the door. 50% off everything including one-headed abalone, two-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin, Chinese bahaba fish, and even the wild giant yellow croakers. 50% off everything. A simple advertising signboard with pictures of abalones, Atlantic bluefin marlin, Chinese bahaba fish, and wild giant yellow croakers. Finally they are opened. Let's go. I heard they placed all the top-graded ingredients at the entrance. If we get them, the chef can cook it on the spot. Let's hurry. The first grade restaurant has a 50% off promotion, and the place will soon be fully booked. We should start to queue now. Otherwise we can't get to eat even if we want to. Hurry, I heard that the boss has arowanas that are worth millions of dollars inside. Gosh, this is way too awesome. Those people who left were excited as they ran off hastily when the first grade restaurant opened their doors for business. Why don't we check it out too? Those people in front of the Longshan restaurant asked hesitantly when they saw the crowd streaming towards the first grade restaurant. I'll check it out to see if what they said was real. Me too. It should not be possible for the first grade restaurant to find about 90 people just to act as shills. If what they said was untrue, then they would be smearing their own brand name. That's right, I'll check them out too. We'll wait and see if it is really as awesome as they claimed it would be. Some of the people popped over to the first grade restaurant while some people were prepared to sit around and observe. For a moment, no one entered the Longshan restaurant. On the stage, Director Xie turned sulky as he held his microphone tightly with killing radiance flickering in his eyes. Don't push everyone. Line up orderly. Manager Huang was excited to see the influx of customers at the restaurant entrance. Sorry, we're really sorry. We're still in the midst of preparation. So, if you want to have your meals, you might need to wait for more than an hour. You can wait if you're patient enough. Manager Huang yelled at the top of his lungs. His chin was slightly lifted as he was feeling proud. Let's take a look at these displays in front of us. Check out the one-headed abalone and the Chinese bahaba fish. Yes, let's check these out first. Damn, I have never seen one-headed abalone. Not even a Chinese bahaba fish. Manager Huang, even the one-headed abalone that cost more than 2 million, it is also at half price? If someone buys this, won't the shop be losing money? The group of people asked curiously as they marched in. 50% off for everything. This is not empty talk. But all our seafood has to be cooked in the restaurant after purchase to prevent people from reselling our one-headed abalones, Manager Huang answered in a loud voice. Gosh, it's true. This is a godlike promotion. A one-headed abalone at half price means we save over $1 million. Wow, they are really Chinese bahaba fish, wild giant yellow croakers, 2 one-headed abalone and 10 two-headed abalone. This is simply amazing. What a huge abalone. One of these costs more than 2 million. This is incredible. Too incredible. What a sight. What a goddamn sight. Everyone took out their phones to take photos as they exclaimed in disbelief. And these arowanas. Gosh, Manager Huang, Where did your boss find so many precious arowanas that are worth a few million each? You're kidding me. Are they really that expensive? Of course. My friend sells ornamental fish. So, I know something about it. These arowanas looked really impressive. They are worth at least $1 million. Gosh. Then all this seafood and the ornamental fishes would add up to a value of 20 to 30 million. I heard that first-grade restaurant is owned by someone else now. Is the current boss that wealthy? People in front, please wait inside after viewing. Give the people at the back a chance. The customers who were waiting behind said in anticipation as they heard the exclamations from the customers in front. No hurry, the people in the front answered. The people queuing behind are blocking the road. Can the people in front hurry up? The crowd was overwhelming. Some of them entered slowly as they revealed shocked expressions while gazing at the top-graded seafood. All of them took out their phones to snap pictures and share on their WeChat feeds and the internet. How is it? Is it true what those people just said? Some of the ignorant people asked the people in front. It's true. Damn. A huge one-headed abalone, rare Chinese bahaba fish, and a 3 meters Atlantic bluefin marlin. This is simply incredible. Compared to the first-grade restaurant, the Longshan restaurant is totally crap. The grouper is a joke in front of all these top-graded seafoods. The people in the Longshan restaurant are idiots. How could they have the cheek to say the first-grade restaurant is incomparable to them? It should be the other way around. The two of them are not of the same class. How dare they claim to be generous? They are a disgrace in front of the first-grade restaurant. Yes, I don't understand how they have the guts to make such proclamations. They even invited a celebrity over. They are obviously not on par with them. What can they do even if they get the top stars here? Many people were talking about it. Soon the news spread outside. Those people were not shills. What they said was true. The people outside were dumbfounded when they heard the description from the people inside. Just like what the angry man had said. Compared to the first-grade restaurant, Longshan restaurant is crap. The two of them are not of the same class. Chapter 74, First-grade restaurant versus Longshan restaurant, End. Chapter 74, First-grade restaurant versus Longshan restaurant, End. The old street was more buoyant than normal today. It was especially so in the vicinity of first-grade restaurant. Just a while ago, all the traffic was gathered at the well-decorated entrance of Longshan restaurant. However, at this very moment, it looked a little deserted. This is crazy. This is crazy. First-grade restaurant is full right now. I couldn't even squeeze in if I wished. I was still thinking of going to take a look at the one-headed abalone. I have never seen a one-headed abalone in my life. One-headed abalone, two-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin, Chinese bahaba fish, yellow croaker fish and several precious ornamental arowana. First-grade restaurant's promotional activity is truly shocking. First-grade restaurant truly deserves its name. However, Longshan restaurant is in an embarrassing situation now. They have been publicizing fervently and even invited a star over. During the opening speech, they even claimed to be much better than first-grade restaurant. This is simply a slap to their own face. Yeah, a slap to their own face. Longshan restaurant publicized that everything is going at half price but exclude two-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin and some top-quality ingredients. However, everything is going at half price at first-grade restaurant. First-grade restaurant is clearly to take a loss with each sale. This is a contest between first-grade restaurant and Longshan restaurant, but it seems like Longshan restaurant has been handed a complete defeat. At the entrance of Longshan restaurant, some customers took a glance at Longshan restaurant. They shook their heads and walked towards first-grade restaurant just a short distance away. Director Xia was shivering in anger while standing by the side and hearing their conversation. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fist tightly. Defeat. Utter defeat. From the beginning to the end, the boss of first-grade restaurant had never shown his face. And from the beginning to the end, first-grade restaurant had never done any publicity. Relying on just strength, first-grade restaurant had completely rolled over Longshan restaurant. How can this be possible? How did he get his hands on such precious seafood? Director Xia's eyes were filled with disbelief. He thought that he was already great to be able to get two-headed abalone and Atlantic bluefin marlin. However, just a simple comparison and it was clear that he was far from it. Director Xia, the middle-aged manager of Longshan restaurant walked out and stammered with sorrow. Damn it. Director Xie turned his head over and stared at the middle-aged man with murderous intent. Didn't I ask you to investigate the background of the boss of first-grade restaurant? Didn't I ask you to keep a lookout of their actions? These are the results of your investigation? Director Xie, this really isn't my fault. I had not expected this either. They only brought out these ingredients last night. At that time we were having the celebratory feast. The manager said righteously. Celebratory feast. When Director Xie heard these words, it felt full of mockery. Celebratory feast? A celebratory feast for this darn outcome? Brother, what should we do? The young man from the side walked over and asked Director Xie with a face of sorrows. After investing close to $20 million, we can't just let it be. Director Xie clenched his fist tightly as a violent look flashed past his eyes. The young man was taken aback but soon revealed the same expression. Brother, I also feel that we shouldn't just let this go. Brother-in-law's strength could be considered really strong in Rivertown. Should we look for him? Director Xie took out a cigarette and lit it. I'll go make a call. Longshan Restaurant will operate as planned. The victory of this showdown will belong to us. Director Xie sneered at the people around and headed directly to the office in Longshan Restaurant. The surrounding members of the media and publicity personnel took a look at Longshan Restaurant before looking at first-grade restaurant just a short distance away. Suddenly they were lost as to how to write their articles. Lin Qingying also looked inquisitively at first-grade restaurant and her eyes were shimmering. Boss, we have succeeded. There are barely any customers at Longshan Restaurant and we have a full house right here. There are still a lot of people waiting to come in to take a look. At this moment, Manager Huang spoke excitedly to Wang Xian within the office in first-grade restaurant. As expected. Wang Xian's lips curved slowly into a smile. Since we have started the activity today, we better do it well. This will be tough on the employees. Get something good for lunch. It's not tough. It's not tough. After this incident, it wouldn't be easy for Longshan Restaurant to get up again. On the contrary, with the seafood that boss had brought over, our business would only get better and better. Manager Huang said joyously. Definitely. Alright, Manager Huang. Reserve a private lounge for me tonight. I'd like to invite some friends over for dinner. Wang Xian said to Manager Huang. Alright, Director Wang. Manager Huang nodded his head. Xiao Xian, you are really awesome. The moment Manager Huang left, Guan Shuqing looked at Wang Xian with total respect. Haha, that's a given. Wang Xian smiled satisfactorily. It was a little beyond his expectations to be able to win this showdown so easily. Although he brought over quite a substantial amount of top-quality ingredients from the ocean the last few days and Longshan Restaurant was miles away from first-grade restaurant, Longshan Restaurant shouldn't have been defeated so utterly. However, their mistakes were on the discounts given and that they were too petty about the discounts. First-grade restaurant was also providing 50% off like Longshan Restaurant. However, first-grade restaurant's 50% discount was on all ingredients. As for Longshan Restaurant's 50% discount, it did not include those top-quality ingredients. Besides that, they were still emphasizing how extravagant they were at their opening ceremony. In the end, this became a tight slap on their own faces. Comparing would only reveal one's shortcomings. If Longshan Restaurant did not compare themselves with first-grade restaurant, they were indeed really awesome. However, in a simple comparison, the difference between them was stark. Even Wang Xian had not expected that the arrogant Director Xie would be such a Scrooge. However, Wang Xian was able to do so because these top-quality ingredients did not cost him anything as he caught them from the seas. However, Director Xie had to spend real cash to purchase his ingredients. Wang Xian lied on the chair leisurely and was smiling as he witnessed the rise of first-grade restaurant. What happened on Old Street today was soon spread to the majority of Rivertown. Many group chats, Weibo chat groups and forums were discussing first-grade restaurant. The reputation of first-grade restaurant had also quickly spread to other cities as it became sensational over the internet. In this era, a Chinese bahaba fish would be enough to make the headlines, let alone a restaurant in possession of such a range of top-quality ingredients. As for Longshan Restaurant, who had been publicizing fervently over the past few days, they had now become the joke. A showdown ended with Longshan Restaurant's complete defeat. Late at night, some media houses who caught the news carried their cameras over to first-grade restaurant to visit the hottest restaurant in Rivertown. Wang Xian saw it from his office. After which, he sent Manager Huang over to receive them. When it came to interviews from the media, Wang Xian was still very willing to accept them. This was a very good way to achieve publicity. Let's go and try the food of first-grade restaurant. More importantly, have a taste of the legendary fish gelatin from the Chinese bahaba fish that is rumored to be a great beauty supplement. Jianghu first-grade restaurant is probably full today. It's fine. With this face of mine, the boss would definitely give us a table. We might even get it for free. At the entrance, Lin Qingying wore a huge face mask and entered first-grade restaurant with her assistant. Chapter 75, Even a Celebrity Must Queue. Chapter 75, Even a Celebrity Must Queue. The first-grade restaurant at night was not only fully occupied. Many people were also queuing in the waiting area near the entrance. Many customers were gazing at the expensive world-class seafood. When Lin Qingying walked into the restaurant, her brows slightly knit together as she looked inside. The people were overwhelming such that the restaurant seemed overcrowded. However, it was normal since the first-grade restaurant was too famous. Lin Qingying raised an eyebrow as she looked at the front desk staff. She asked the staff over at the counter, "Are there any seats available?" "Nope. You can take a queue number. But I don't recommend you wait if there are too many people in front of you," the front desk staff said with a smile. Lin Qingying frowned and continued, "Please get your boss here." "Her? What's the matter, babe?" Wang Xian had just walked out of his office when he heard Lin Qingying. Hence, he looked at her with a puzzled look. "Are you the boss over here?" Lin Qingying stared at Wang Xian with surprise. "Yes, what's the matter?" Wang Xian asked with a smile. "Can you give me a seat? I would like to taste the delicacy of the first-grade restaurant and the fish gelatin of the Chinese bahaba fish." Lin Qingying removed her sunglasses, revealing her look as she smiled at Wang Xian. Lin Qingying. When Lin Qingying took off her sunglasses, the staff at the side exclaimed and took her phone out for pictures. Lin Qingying revealed a confident look as soon as she saw the reaction of the staff. Lin Qingying. Wang Xian recognized the beauty in front of him. She was the renowned food celebrity who had taken part in the opening ceremony of Longshan restaurant this morning. "Can we?" Lin Qingying raised her eyebrows slightly as she continued asking Wang Xian. "How many people are there in the queue?" Wang Xian did not answer her. Instead, he asked the staff at the side. "Director Wang, there are 25 more people in the queue," the staff replied. 25. Wang Xian nodded and turned to the sexy Lin Qingying. Regretfully, he said, "I'm sorry, Miss Lin Qingying. There are 25 tables in front of you. I'm afraid today is not possible. Please come early tomorrow." Wang Xian had stunned Lin Qingying with his statement as she looked at him with disbelief. Lin Qingying was not expecting such an answer from the other party. She was a celebrity, a food celebrity. Her presence in any restaurant would be its best publicity. Yet this young man had turned her down flat. This was embarrassing to her. She looked at Wang Xian with radiance flickering in her eyes. "Do you know who I am?" The question posed by Lin Qingying stunned Wang Xian. He chuckled and replied immediately, "What has that got to do with it?" "You," Wang Xian's reply infuriated her, "you actually reject me from dining in here." Lin Qingying looked at Wang Xian with a dirty look. In the past, all the managers or bosses would deliver their dishes personally wherever she had her meals. All of them were hoping to receive good reviews from her. If she could post their restaurant on her Weibo, that would be even better. Yet, the first-grade restaurant had the cheek to ask her to return tomorrow. This boiled the blood of the prideful girl. "This beautiful lady over here has a funny way of talking, I guess? The restaurant is full now. If you want to have your food here, you can wait. But we'll stop receiving guests at 9 p.m. Till then, if it's not your turn, too bad. Celebrities are all the same. They don't get to enjoy any privilege here." Wang Xian looked at the prideful Lin Qingying and spoke to her impassively. Subsequently, he walked to the front desk, ignoring her. Lin Qingying was infuriated, as her anger was written all over her face after hearing what Wang Xian said. Some of the customers who were waiting spotted the commotion. When they saw Lin Qingying, all of them had a surprised look on their faces. When they overheard the conversations between Lin Qingying and the boss, they were stupefied. "The boss is really superb. You need to wait if you want to eat. That goes for the celebrities. The first-grade restaurant doesn't even need celebrities to promote them." Lin Qingying, who would have thought that the boss would keep her waiting when she wants to dine in this restaurant? But yes, so what if you're a star? The first-grade restaurant is capable on their own without the need for any celebrities' promotions. The first-grade restaurant lives up to its name. They are domineering. With such capability, you need to queue for their food even if you're a food celebrity. Some customers praised Wang Xian for the way he dealt with the situation while some looked at him with a sneer. There were several media members not far away from them, who recorded down the scene with excitement on their faces. They were not expecting to meet Lin Qingying when they were only here for the coverage of the first-grade restaurant. The news was simply too juicy. They already thought of ways to publicize it. Headlines. Breaking news. Lin Qingying was told to wait in the queue by the boss when she was here for the food. Even celebrities need to queue. No privilege. Shocking. The first-grade restaurant is so capable that they do not need the celebrity's promotion. So what if you are Lin Qingying? Queue up. Lin Qingying had a complicated facial expression when she heard the surrounding comments. Qingying, let's leave this place. The media are here too, the assistant next to her said to her anxiously when she noticed the media snapping photos of them. Lin Qingying took a deep breath. She put on her sunglasses and walked out, embarrassed. Wang Xian lifted his head. As Lin Qingying departed, he had a faint disdainful look on his face. So what if you are a star? Longxian restaurant might need publicity, but not first-grade restaurant. One by one Wang Xian's friends turned up at about 7 o'clock in the evening. Old Qin brought along his wife, Qin Lianhui, as well as little Kite. 4 members from old Shue's family, including Shui Jing's mother, were here. Lan Qingyue showed up too. When Wang Xian had invited them over for a meal, both old Shui and old Qin agreed without any hesitation. Guan Shuqing came over happily too. Today, I would like to invite everyone to have a taste of the food in the first-grade restaurant. Wang Xian beamed at everyone as the dishes were brought to the table. Looking at the dishes that were worth over $1 million on the table, old Shui exclaimed, "It's a buddy Wang Xian, you're too generous. 2-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin sashimi, wild giant yellow croakers, and Chinese bahaba fish's gelatin soup. This is too extravagant. This is the first time in my life to have such extravagant dishes. All thanks to buddy Wang Xian." Old Qin laughed out loud as he said to Wang Xian, "I have to bring out the best when I'm hosting my friends. If not, that would be too stingy of me." Wang Xian chuckled. "The fish gelatin of the Chinese bahaba fish is good for the ladies. It enhances the beauty and enriches the blood flow. Xiao Xian, you're sincere in buying us a meal." Lan Qingyue, who was sitting on the left of Wang Xian, laughed as she said, "Hee, it's half price today. I don't feel bad with some orders." Wang Xian joked while Guan Shuqing on his right smiled. "Buddy Wang Xian and the 2 beauties over here, let's have a toast. In the future you can look for me if you need any help. The Qin family will definitely help you out." "Thank you, Grandpa Qin." Both Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue quickly raised their glasses. Wang Xian and the rest of the people finished their drinks in a gulp. The Shui family and the Qin family were great friends. It was only courteous to reciprocate their friendship. Wang Xian bought them a meal to strengthen their bond. On the other hand, the 2 influential families, Qin and Shui families, were very happy to befriend Wang Xian. Chapter 76, Whose Fireworks? Chapter 76, Whose Fireworks? When the dinner ended, it was already around 11 p.m. Wang Xian was surprised to see 2 beautiful girls still around after sending off old Qin and old Shui. "Are you not going home too?" Wang Xian gave a gentle smile and asked Lan Qingyue. Wang Xian wasn't very familiar with Lan Qingyue. The number of times they had met and chat could be counted with a single hand. Nonetheless, his impression of Lan Qingyue was still very good. It was especially so after the incident at the banquet. With regard to this cold-looking girl, he did have some good feelings for her. However, such feelings hadn't reached the level he had for Guan Shuqing. "It's late now. I'll probably head back to the dormitory to sleep." Lan Qingyue smiled, looking to Guan Shuqing before asking Wang Xian, "Are you heading back to the dormitory too?" "Yeah, I can't possibly be sleeping in the restaurant." Wang Xian smiled and turned to Guan Shuqing. "Let's go, it's pretty late now. Let's head back." "All right. In that case, let's walk back. Your motorcycle is unlikely to fit 3 people." Guan Shuqing joked. "That's true." Wang Xian replied with a smile. This darned heavy-duty motorcycle had problems fetching an additional person, let alone ferrying 2 people. "Let's walk back together," suggested Wang Xian. "Sure. I'm feeling so full from the dinner. Walking back can help in the digestion." Guan Shuqing nodded her head. Lan Qingyue felt a little uncomfortable listening to the conversation between the two of them from the side. Nonetheless, she squeezed out a smile on her face. The night skies are really beautiful today. Let's walk back together. I wonder if the people from the school would kill you with their gazes if they saw you walking with two beautiful girls. Ah, that's true. You two are well-known beauties of our school and considered as goddess-like existences. I'll probably walk slower on our way back in a while. Wang Xian chuckled. Lan Qingyue was to his left in a black dress and had the disposition of a cold-looking goddess. Guan Shuqing was to his right and had a faint smile on her. She had the disposition of a cute and adorable goddess. Both of them were very tall because of their fine family backgrounds and were considered by many as goddesses. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes at Wang Xian before commenting, let's go, let's go. Thank you, boss, for treating us to such a great dinner today. Ya Xiao Xian. If there's something so delicious in the future, don't forget to call me along. Lan Qingyue added in a hurry. Sure, that's not a problem. If there's anything delicious in the future, I'll call you along. Wang Xian walked between the two beautiful girls and could smell two different fragrances. This made his face light up with impish glee. Xiao Xian, I really have to thank you for this. Because of you, our Lan family has gotten closer to Qin family. Oh yeah. Xiao Xian, my father has been thinking of apologizing to you for that incident. He would like to ask you out for dinner, but I told him that you aren't free. Along the way, Wang Xian realized that Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue had many things to talk about. All he could do was to nod his head in approval while listening. They started from their families to interesting incidents that happened in school. Throughout the journey, it was an enjoyable experience for all of them. After sending the two girls to the girls' dormitory, Wang Xian waved and bade goodbye to the two of them. See you tomorrow? Guan Shuqing looked to Wang Xian and waved back. Sure. Wang Xian nodded his head and waved at them before heading back to his dormitory. Looking at the back view of Wang Xian, Lan Qingyue and Guan Shuqing suddenly quietened down. A unique atmosphere started forming around them. Junior, I wouldn't just give up. Suddenly, Lan Qingyue broke the silence. She flicked her long and silky hair and exhibited a strong sense of confidence. I have more interactions with him and that's an advantage. Guan Shuqing smiled radiantly and said to Lan Qingyue. She was also exhibiting the same confident disposition. Fair competition. Lan Qingyue looked at Guan Shuqing before walking up the stairs. Looking at her back view, Guan Shuqing suddenly had a bitter feeling. She mumbled, although I'm confident, my mum said that all men would eat from their bowl but stare at what's inside the pot. It is especially so when there's such a tasty piece of meat in the pot. Wang Xian didn't know about the conversation between the two girls after he left. When he got back into the dormitory, he took a shower and stretched his back. It had been extremely tiring for him over the last few days as he was actively looking for Chinese bahaba fish and Atlantic bluefin marlin. However, just as he was about to get into bed, his expression changed. Damn it, disturbing my rest. Wang Xian immediately put on his clothes, walked out of his dormitory and ran quickly towards first-grade restaurant. In the wee hours of the day he moved like a phantom. If one simply used his naked eyes, all he could see was a black figure flashing past him. Brother-in-law, would there be a problem if we burned down his restaurant? At the entrance of Old Street, a luxurious Bentley was parked at the left side of the road. Within the car, a young man was sitting in the driver's seat. Director Xia was sitting beside the driver's seat and a young man was sitting in the back of the car. Rest assured, a restaurant catching fire is just a small issue. Moreover, what can they possibly do even if they can find some traces? The young man in the driver's seat said with indifference as he smoked. Thank you, brother-in-law. If we didn't have you, I really wouldn't know what to do. Director Xia was sitting beside and kept a very low profile. This is just a small issue. Look for me if you encounter any issues in Rivertown. I'll settle it for you, the young man said nonchalantly as though burning down a famous restaurant was nothing in his eyes. Brother-in-law is from one of the top ancient martial arts family in Rivertown. We weren't intending to disturb you initially and wanted to invite you over for a meal. However, we encountered this troublesome incident. Director Xia smiled. Hee, it isn't too late if you invite me a few days from now. Come, let us enjoy the fireworks. The young man retracted the roof of the Bentley. Fireworks, fireworks. The juvenile sitting in the back seat revealed an excited expression. Director Xia's lips curved slightly and gave a cold and faint smirk. He was already thinking of going to witness the despairing look on that brat the next day. Mess with me? You aren't qualified. Although Xie family's influence isn't in Rivertown, I could still easily crush you. Director Xie took out a cigarette leisurely and waited patiently for the fireworks to start. Swoosh. However, they hadn't noticed a figure charging over from the side. Wang Xian was still able to see the surroundings clearly while running. When his gaze swept past the Bentley convertible at the road junction, he had a thought. Swoosh. In the blink of an eye, Wang Xian had appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. There wasn't anyone around Old Street in the wee hours of the day and all the shops were closed. At the location of first-grade restaurant, two figures were lying down on the floor. Dragon King, these two people tried to burn down first-grade restaurant. A burly old man stood at the entrance of first-grade restaurant and he was none other than Mo Qinglong. With goods worth several tens of millions in first-grade restaurant currently, Wang Xian naturally wouldn't feel safe. Therefore he had arranged for Mo Qinglong to guard this place at night. As Mo Qinglong was his bloodline descendant, he could contact Wang Xian through a unique method within a 3-kilometer radius. Martial artists? Wang Xian was surprised to see the two unconscious people on the ground. Yes, Dragon King. Both of them are level 5 martial artists and could be considered to be quite strong. Mo Qinglong said. 2 martial artists? When Wang Xian recalled the luxurious Bentley convertible at the road junction previously, an image of a young man surfaced in his mind. Who would have expected you guys to employ such despicable means? In that case, Wang Xian's eyes flickered and looked away from first-grade restaurant. In that case, I'll give you guys a fireworks show. Chapter 77, Beautiful Fireworks. Chapter 77, Beautiful Fireworks. Crack. Immobilize the two of them and follow me to meet the culprit behind this. A blazing fire suddenly rose as Wang Xian walked out from the Longshan restaurant. With a scoffing look on his face, he walked towards the old street. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong, with a pair of passionate eyes, nodded respectfully. With just an arm swing of the Dragon King just now, the place was engulfed by the blazing fire. Such formidable superpower. Even if his cultivation attained the inborn level, he could never duplicate that. Wang Xian enveloped the entire Longshan restaurant with his fire attribute. Soon the restaurant was burning. The fireworks are up. Haha, it's so beautiful. When the flames rose, the juvenile sitting in the Bentley sports car stood up as he watched the fireworks in the old street from a distance. It's beautiful, it's beautiful. Director Xie had an intoxicated look on his face. Ha, first-grade restaurant. How dare you fight with me? This is your end. Brother-in-law, thanks to you this time. No big deal. The young man flicked the ash off his cigarette with a slacking face. This was a piece of cake for him. He did not care about burning down a restaurant. When that young man finds out that his restaurant has been turned into ashes tomorrow, he probably will hug himself and cry. The juvenile stared at the firework in the distance with excitement. This is his end. Director Xie took a deep puff. Satisfying. Yes, the fireworks are beautiful. Stunningly gorgeous. Just then, an unfamiliar voice was heard suddenly from the car. Of course, when the juvenile heard this, he responded instinctively. But soon he realized that something was amiss. The voice seemed to be coming from the seat next to him. But there should be no one beside him. He spun his head around and revealed a shocking look in his eyes. You. He pointed at Wang Xian with a look of disbelief. Who are you? The young man who was sitting in the driver's seat sensed an oppressive danger instantly. He stood up immediately and looked at Wang Xian with disbelief. He then swept his gaze across Mo Qinglong, who was standing next to the car. He had not sensed anyone near him. Me? Wang Xian revealed a playful expression when he saw the young man staring at him, shocked. Let them introduce me. How did you come in? Director Xie was also stunned when he turned around and saw Wang Xian in the car. Hey, don't be panicked. Look at the fireworks. They're so beautiful. Wang Xian looked at the distant fireworks with a smile. That place? No. That is... Director Xie noticed his composure, so he turned around to look carefully again. Subsequently, his body trembled as he spun and stared at Wang Xian with his bloodshot eyes. How dare you burn down my Longshan restaurant? What? Longshan restaurant is the one on fire? The juvenile was shocked, with mixed expressions on his face. Brother-in-law, kill him. Kill him. How dare he? Shut up. At this time, Renanji stared at Wang Xian and Mo Qinglong with wariness on his face. When he heard the juvenile's voice, he yelled at him in a cold voice. Immediately, the juvenile shut up upon hearing him. But he glared furiously at Wang Xian. Yes, that's the Longshan restaurant. Look, now it has turned into fireworks. How beautiful. Wang Xian looked into the distance with a beaming face. Which family or sect are you from? Asked Renanji with a cold face. He did not dare to make any reckless moves as he could sense significant threats from them. Which family are you from then? Wang Xian turned around and looked at him with smiles on his face when he heard Renanji's question. Ren family in Rivertown. Renanji said emotionlessly. Oh, Ren family, ranked second in the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown. Quite a formidable family. Wang Xian drew his lips slightly when he listened to him. From old Shui he had already found out the rankings of the families in Rivertown. Ren family was in second place. The strongest martial artist was a level 8 elder in the Ren family. Together with another 2 level 7 martial artists, they made a powerful team. But to him they were nothing if he just flicked his finger. Well, that's the end of the fireworks. Finish them off. Wang Xian slowly opened the door and instructed Emo Qinglong next to him. Yes, Dragon King. Emo Qinglong nodded as he stared at Renanji. Finish me off? Renanji was infuriated when he heard what Wang Xian said. With a cold face he said, let me tell you this. No matter who you are, the Ren family will not be afraid of you. You talk too much, Emo Qinglong said impassively as he stretched out his arm to seize him. Seeking your own death. Renanji was furious when he sensed Emo Qinglong's contempt. He curled his fingers into a fist and hurled at Emo Qinglong. Too weak. Emo Qinglong shook his head gently. Without any additional movements, he grabbed Renanji's fist with no difficulties. Oh no! Renanji was horrified, with eyes full of disbelief. He was a level 5 expert. Ren family? Regardless of which family you're from, you'll need to pay a hefty price for provoking the Dragon King. Emo Qinglong said impassively. With a pair of fearful eyes, Renanji felt a powerful stream of internal energy gushing towards his elixir field. Ka. Sounds of cracks were heard. Renanji could not help but spit a mouthful of blood. His eyes were full of despair. You ruined my elixir field. You are actually a half-step to inborn. Feeling the intense pain from his body and the vast internal energy from the elder before him, he trembled in fear as the oppression continued to lurk in his heart as if something heavy had fallen from the sky onto him. Killing you or wiping the entire Ren family out is not a big deal. Emo Qinglong spoke to Renanji nonchalantly. No. I beg you. Renanji narrowed his eyes as he pleaded desperately. Umph. Emo Qinglong scoffed at him. With a swing, Renanji fell heavily on the car. Emo Qinglong then spun around to look at the remaining 2 people. No. Don't. Director Xie was appalled to see his mighty brother-in-law torpified. It's too late. Emo Qinglong swung his arm again and hit the limbs of Director Xie with his immense energy. Ah! Director Xie was screaming in despair. No, don't kill me, no. The juvenile was so petrified that he knelt in the car quickly. He was only 19 and he was about to enter the university. He had yet to experience so many wonderful things in life. Useless thing. Emo Qinglong revealed a disdainful look. He swung his arm again, and the immense energy entered his body. All his limbs were crippled. Looking at the 3 people who were rolling in pain in the car, Wang Xian sneered and headed to the school. Let's settle the underworld matter in the underworld. You're welcome to seek revenge from me. If you dare to do any despicable things, this would not be the end, Emo Qinglong said coldly and returned to protecting the first-grade restaurant. I'm doomed. I'm completely destroyed. Half-step to inborn. He's actually a half-step to inborn expert. Renanji stared in the air blankly as he went into a trance. The previous slack, casual look was long gone. The fireworks in the distance seemed to be burning their souls away. Chapter 78 Famous throughout the country. Chapter 78 Famous throughout the country. First-grade restaurant is on fire. Longshan restaurant has caught fire. First-grade restaurant's reputation had spread throughout the whole country. As for Longshan restaurant, it was burned to ashes. On the night of the fire, someone reported it. After the fire was put out, the insides of Longshan restaurant were blackened and charred. Everything had been destroyed in the fire. Boss, we are famous. We are famous. The next morning, just as Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing arrived at first-grade restaurant, manager Huang exclaimed in excitement. He passed the newspaper over and continued, "Boss, take a look. This is the morning paper of River Town. Our first-grade restaurant is now known throughout the town. Moreover, Longshan restaurant is completely finished after they caught fire last night. They are unlikely to reopen in the future." "I already know about it." Wang Xian smiled. "We might be getting a little busier for the next few days and we'll have to trouble manager Huang to supervise the situation." Not a problem, not a problem." Manager Huang smiled as he shook his head. Wang Xian nodded his head and went into the office. With nothing to do, he switched on his computer and started playing. As a boss, he could do as he wished. Now that first-grade restaurant had started off well, he could just come over to play games. First-grade restaurant is in the headlines. Wang Xian clicked on a news article and had a radiant smile as he read about the introduction of first-grade restaurant. The article was titled, "Although I was surprised, I'm not exaggerating." When Wang Xian looked through the contents of that article, he smiled. After which, he continued browsing the internet and saw several news articles reporting about them. Among them, there were also articles from large media houses. One of the news articles was about Lin Qingying and first-grade restaurant. In that article, it was mentioned that Lin Qingying came to first-grade restaurant for a meal. She tried to use her fame and reputation of a food blogger to ask the boss to arrange a table for her. However, she was asked to wait by the boss directly. Even stars wouldn't receive special treatment. There were lots of comments under the news article, among which the most popular one was, "First-grade restaurant is incredible." In a food magazine, first-grade restaurant was promoted as the most incredible, most extravagant and most luxurious restaurant. The three most clearly showed the strength of first-grade restaurant. Within a single day, first-grade restaurant was known throughout the country. There were even many customers from other cities who wished to head to first-grade restaurant to try out their food and take a look at the most incredible restaurant in the country. Amongst the media reports from River Town, there was also an assessment of the showdown between Longshan restaurant and first-grade restaurant. The gist of the content was that first-grade restaurant completely ran over Longshan restaurant. There were even videos of Lin Qingying being rejected directly by the boss circulating on the internet. Longshan restaurant was utterly defeated. Together with that fire at night, one could only pity Longshan restaurant. For the following days, the business of first-grade restaurant exploded. People who came here for meals weren't just from River Town. Tourists in River Town would all come to first-grade restaurant to try the food as long as they had the economic capacity to do so. Besides that, through some connections of old Qin, first-grade restaurant was placed in the introduction of River Town's tourist spots. Currently, first-grade restaurant was classified as a must-go restaurant for anyone who came to River Town. With the local authorities' publicity, coupled with the reputation of first-grade restaurant had a full house each day. Its sales had also doubled from before. Two-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin, wild giant yellow croaker fish and Chinese bahaba fish were all sold out. Xiao Xian, these are the sales figures over the last few days. I have also calculated the profits. Do take a look. On the fourth day, Guan Shuqing brought over the sales report to Wang Xian. Wang Xian took a look at it after receiving them from Guan Shuqing. First day sales, $770,000. Second day sales, $830,000. Third day sales, $970,000. Fourth day sales, $102,000. When Wang Xian saw these figures, excitement flashed in his eyes. These figures were really high and were several times as compared to before. However, from a different perspective, they weren't that high either. This was because they were achieved in a discounted period. Sales were $770,000 with 50% discount on the first day. Without discounts, it would be $1. 54 million. There were also 40% discounts on the second day, 30% discounts on the third day and 20% discounts on the fourth day. On the fourth day, sales had broken through the $1 million mark. Moreover, with the current popularity of first-grade restaurant, the sales figures of $1 million a day would likely last for some time. It was especially so during the festive days when sales might be even higher. If he was lucky to have a customer order 3 two-headed abalone in a day, that would be over $1 million. Moreover, these abalones, lobsters, Atlantic bluefin marlin and other variety of fish were all caught from the sea. There were no costs associated with them. Excluding the costs, I have earned approximately $2.5 million in 4 days. Wang Xian's lips curved into a smile. Although he was giving generous discounts over the last few days, he wasn't too concerned as there was no cost associated with the world-class ingredients. Based on this pace, he could earn more than $10 million in a month. Naturally, this had to be based on having a steady supply of world-class ingredients. Wang Xian's mind was thinking quickly and a smile appeared gradually. The issue with the supply of ingredients could be left to Roving Girl. With Roving Girl's current strength, catching some world-class seafood shouldn't be a problem at all. Bzz. At this moment, Wang Xian's phone rang suddenly. He took it up, took a look, and a radiant smile appeared on his face. Xiao Yu. Brother. I'll be going to the University of Rivertown with Xiaomi and some other friends who got in too. At that time, come and fetch me. From the phone, the voice of his sister Xiao Yu sounded. What time are you arriving tomorrow? Wang Xian asked. Unknowingly, the semester of the university was about to start and his sister Xiao Yu would also be going to the same school as him. We will be reaching Rivertown High-Speed Rail Station tomorrow at 10 a.m. At that time you have to bring us around. Relax. I, your brother, guarantee to be there on time. As he hung up the phone with a face of smiles, Wang Xian looked at today's date. The first-year students of the University of Rivertown had 3 days to report to the school. This was to ensure that students who were from a more distant place would have ample time. Xiao Yu and her friends were a little early and would be arriving a day in advance. There would also be a few other high school students who made it into the University of Rivertown. To be precise, there were 8 of them. Xiao Xian, your sister will be arriving tomorrow? Guan Shuqing overheard his phone conversation and asked inquisitively. Yeah. Wang Xian nodded his head. For the following 2 days I'll be bringing my sister around to have some fun. Therefore, I won't have time to come to the restaurant. In that case, have a good time with Xiao Yu over the next 2 days. There are still 3 days to the official start of school after all, replied Guan Shuqing. Yeah. Wang Xian nodded his head and sank into his thoughts. He was thinking of giving her a huge surprise this time. The next morning, after finishing his breakfast, Wang Xian arrived at the high-speed rail station to wait for the arrival of his sisters. At 10 a.m., a group of young guys and girls walked out from the high-speed rail station. There were 8 of them, 3 girls and 5 boys. One of the girls was around 1.6 meters in height. She wasn't very tall and was slightly slim. However, she had an exquisite face. She did not have any makeup on, looked very quiet and gave others the feeling of a girl next door. Chapter 79, The Admirer of the Younger Sister. Chapter 79, The Admirer of the Younger Sister. Xiao Yu. Brother. At the exit of the high-speed railway station, Wang Xian called out to his sister, who was carrying a backpack. When Xiao Yu saw him, she was so thrilled that she dashed towards him. Brother. Xiao Yu jumped onto Wang Xian. With an exhilarated face, she hugged his neck and called out happily. Alright, you're a big girl now. Why are you still so clingy? Wang Xian patted her head and put her down. Hee hee. Xiao Yu chuckled as she got down from him. Brother, let me introduce you to our hometown friends who were admitted to University of Rivertown this year. Xiao Yu smiled as she introduced the 7 people who were walking over to Wang Xian. Hello, Senior Wang Xian. A pleasant-looking girl greeted Wang Xian immediately. Hi, Xiaomi. Wang Xian nodded as he smiled at the girl. Xiaomi was his sister's best friend, and her family was quite well-to-do. Hence she often took care of Xiao Yu. Hello, Senior. The rest of the people observed Wang Xian and greeted him. Where are you guys heading to? The school doesn't provide accommodation today, so you may need to stay outside for a night. Wang Xian looked at them. He then turned to Xiao Yu and asked, Are you hungry? Do you want to have something to eat? No, I'm not. We're going to find a motel near the school and stay for a night. Then we intend to tour around Rivertown during the next 2 days. Oh, where are we going now? Asked Xiao Yu to the people behind her. Let's get some stuff today. We'll do our tour after we report to the school tomorrow. A juvenile with a sling bag asked, We didn't bring many things with us, so we need to get stuff like computers. Senior Wang Xian, do you know where we can get them? It would be a lot of fun to play tomorrow if we settled our things today. Yes. We can get our things today and put them in our dormitory tomorrow. Senior, please take us to places where we can shop for our stuff. Another juvenile echoed in agreement. Sure. Wang Xian looked at them and nodded. He reached out for Xiao Yu's bag and said, "Let's go. We'll have something simple in a restaurant, and I'll bring you guys to the city center to shop for your stuff." "Yes, senior." The rest of them nodded their heads and headed outside. "Senior, how's life at the university? Is it fun?" A juvenile walked beside Wang Xian and asked. "It's all right. You will have some freedom since the school is not that strict." Wang Xian chuckled. "Senior, you can take us to a better restaurant. I'll be buying lunch for all of us." At this time a juvenile spoke. He was dressed in trendy clothes with a pair of golden frame spectacles without any lenses. On his back he carried a Hermes bag. As he spoke he turned to look at Xiao Yu. "Xiao Yu, what would you like to eat?" "It's okay, Jiao Wenrui. I'll eat anything." Sensing the attention of the juvenile, Xiao Yu shook her head with uneasiness. "It's okay. We'll eat whatever you want," Jiao Wenrui continued with a thick skin. "Ask them what they want. I don't have any preference." Xiao Yu shook her head and looked at Wang Xian. Wang Xian smiled at her. He was not surprised when Xiao Yu had admirers. After all, his sister was pretty too. "I want to have Japanese food. Let's have Japanese food, Wenrui." A girl walked beside Jiao Wenrui and replied as she leaned closer to him. Jiao Wenrui hesitated when he saw the tall and slim girl. She was a totally different kind of girl from Xiao Yu. She was tall with a height of 1.7 meters and her figure was hot. She had a pretty face, sharp chin, tall nose and a slim face. Even though she looked pretty, her face looked as though it was from a mold, just like those online celebrities with plastic surgery faces. Moreover, the traces of plastic surgery were evident. She had makeup on her face with Chanel clothes and bag on her. She was a girl who came from a wealthy family. Forget about having Japanese food in the afternoon. It's a waste of time. Besides, we've got too many of us. It's a little troublesome. Wang Xian suggested, "Let's have something simple first and I'll take you to seafood tonight." Upon hearing Wang Xian, the girl frowned slightly with unhappiness flashing in her eyes. How would having Japanese food be a waste of time? Besides, it's delicious. I bet you haven't had it before. Forget it. Let's not have Japanese food. We will have something simple for lunch. Jiao Wenrui told the girl, "Let's do the Japanese food tomorrow." Fine. The girl was displeased, but she did not refute Jiao Wenrui. Instead, she continued to chat beside him. While Jiao Wenrui was chatting beside that girl, his eyes often drifted to Xiao Yu. But Xiao Yu was talking happily with Wang Xian and Xiaomi as they were sharing their funny stories about their driving lesson during the summer break. "Let's take a cab to the city center. We can take a rest after lunch and shop for stuff over there." The group of people nodded to Wang Xian's suggestion. The group divided into 3 per cab. Wang Xian, Xiao Yu and Xiaomi shared a cab. "Xiao Yu, that handsome guy just now seems to like you." When they were in the cab, Wang Xian beamed to Xiao Yu as he spoke. "Hey." Xiao Yu lifted her chin with some pride but shook her head subsequently. "I don't like Jiao Wenrui. He seems cheeky and thick-skinned. I prefer the type of people similar to my brother. Brother, I haven't seen you for such a long time, and you have become even more good-looking. Isn't it so, Xiaomi?" Senior Wang Xian really became more attractive. Xiaomi looked at Wang Xian and replied with her cheeks blushed. Hee, of course. My brother is the most handsome and kindest person." Xiao Yu smiled and continued, "If I'm getting a boyfriend, I must find someone like my brother." Wang Xian chuckled. He turned to Xiao Yu and reminded her, "I'm telling you, you are allowed to date when you're in the university, but the guy must be good enough. Otherwise, you know me?" "Yes, brother. But I'm not preparing to date when I'm schooling unless I meet someone like you." Hee. Xiao Yu laughed. The happiest thing for her was to be able to attend school with her brother. A boyfriend was nothing to her. "I have my brother, right?" Wang Xian nodded with satisfaction. The cars reached the city center. The group of 9 people came to a building and had some lunch. After the generous Jiao Wenrui fought to pay for the bill, the bunch of youngsters began to shop excitedly. All the girls traveled here lightweight. Their parents must have given them money to shop for their clothes and stuff. Wang Xian also noticed those youngsters were quite well off. "Let's go shopping. I want to buy a computer and some clothes." After lunch, everyone was excited. "Let's buy some clothes first. They're lighter to carry," Wang Xian suggested to them. "Yes, senior." Jiao Wenrui nodded and asked with a smile, "Senior, where can we buy branded clothes here? I also want to get a bag. I've been carrying this for half a year. It's time to change." the girl that looked like some online celebrity said with a sense of superiority. After some chats during lunch, Wang Xian found out that this girl was called Jiang Shuang. Wenrui Jiang Shuang, both of you are nouveau riches. We can't afford branded stuff. But we can join in for fun, the rest of the boys said with envy. Hee, it's nothing. Let's see if we have time in the afternoon. I'll buy a car. I took $200,000 from my parents to buy a car for daily transportation. Jia Wenrui smiled as he spoke. But his eyes were full of egotism. Wow, you're rich, the boys exclaimed in surprise with an envious look. I'll take you guys there. Let's go. Wang Xian gazed at the few people who were showing off, with a faint smile on his face. Chapter 80 Luxurious Shopping 1. Chapter 80 Luxurious Shopping 1. Sunan Shopping Mall is the largest mall in Rivertown and carries many worldwide brands. Let's go to this mall. Wang Xian led them into the mall. He had been to this mall once and spent over $50,000 on 3 sets of clothes. Alright, let's go then. Jia Wenrui smiled and walked in. The guys section is on the 2nd floor and the girls section is at level 3. Let's head to the 2nd floor first. I'd like to get 2 sets of clothes. Jia Wenrui's lips curved into a smile as he spoke to the group behind him. Alright. Let's follow and take a look. The other guys smiled and followed Jia Wenrui. It was clear that Jia Wenrui was rich and had treated them to meals. Therefore they were seeing him as the leader of the group. Let's go. Jia Wenrui waved his hand and walked at the front of the group. Xiaoyu held on to Wang Xian's arm and followed behind while looking at the surroundings. When the group arrived at the 2nd floor, Jia Wenrui headed to the Armani specialty store and walked in confidently. The group followed. When they saw the price tags on the clothes, the group of guys couldn't help but shake their heads. It's so expensive. Just a casual shirt costs $700 to $800. There are even some that cost a few thousand, Xiaoyu said to Wang Xian. Yeah. It's a worldwide brand and it's natural that the price isn't cheap. Wang Xian nodded his head. Yeah, it's really expensive. Even I can't afford such luxurious clothes. Xiaomi stuck out her tongue and said. Is it expensive? At this moment, Jiang Shuang's voice sounded from the side. She gave an indifferent look at Xiaoyu and commented, a $700 to $800 shirt is common. Armani is worldwide. Wearing it naturally allows one to have a different disposition. One's disposition has a lot to do with the clothes they are wearing. You wouldn't understand even if I explained to you. Jiang Shuang had a slightly arrogant look on her and was clearly looking down on Xiaoyu and Xiaomi. It was especially so for Xiaoyu. All her clothes together wouldn't cost more than $200 and yet she was able to attract the attention of Jia Wenrui. This made her really jealous of Xiaoyu. When Xiaoyu heard her comments, she pouted slightly. However, she didn't say anything. She knew that she couldn't compete with others when it came to money and she didn't want to make such comparisons. Wang Xian looked plainly at Jiang Shuang. Xiaoyu, what do you think about these clothes on me? At this moment, Jia Wenrui had just changed into a new set of clothes. He walked in front of Xiaoyu. It's pretty good. Xiaoyu answered perfunctorily and nodded her head. Wenrui, I feel that a blue shirt would look better on you. Although white matches well with black, blue would be more suitable. Jiang Shuang immediately walked over to Jia Wenrui from the side and suggested to him. It's alright, I'll just take these. Jia Wenrui smiled and shook his head at Jiang Shuang. After which, he turned to Wang Xian and said, Senior, let me pick a set of clothes and gift them to you. When Wang Xian heard the sudden words from Jia Wenrui, he shook his head and replied, Thank you. That's not necessary. It's fine. Jia Wenrui smiled and looked to Xiaoyu. You are Xiaoyu's brother and I'll need to get on your good books. Moreover, a set of clothes only costs a few thousands and that's nothing to me. I hope that our relationship could be better. Hehe. As Jia Wenrui spoke, he had a confident smile on. He knew the family conditions of Xiaoyu and Wang Xian. Therefore he was very confident. He believed that he was really outstanding to the point that Xiaoyu and even her brother wouldn't possibly reject him. Therefore Jia Wenrui didn't say it in a more subtle way. Upon hearing his words, Xiaoyu frowned slightly. Wang Xian also raised his eyebrows. He noticed Xiaoyu's response and said directly, It's all right. You are not the type my sister is fond of, so you wouldn't have to do so. He knew that Xiaoyu wasn't fond of Jia Wenrui but was too shy to reject him. Therefore he said it for her and rejected him directly. Jia Wenrui's face stiffened upon hearing Wang Xian words and was speechless. A face-to-face rejection. Moreover, it's a direct and clear rejection. This made him feel shameful. The surrounding people were also slightly shocked. They had not expected Wang Xian to be so direct in his rejection of Jia Wenrui. When Jiang Shuang heard Wang Xian's reply, a tinge of joy flashed in her eyes. However, when she saw the embarrassment on Jia Wenrui's face, she quickly walked in front of him and said, "Wenrui, you are really outstanding. It's her who is not deserving of you. Your family conditions are great and you are good-looking. There would be many girls who would be fond of you. Senior, aren't you going a little overboard by being so direct? You should at least give him some face," a guy by the side said to Wang Xian after noticing the displeasure on Jia Wenrui's face. "I was just speaking the truth," Wang Xian said with indifference. "Tisk, alright, I thought too much into this." Jia Wenrui looked a little embarrassed. He stared at Wang Xian and sneered, "Since senior couldn't tell who's sincere, forget it then." Wang Xian smiled and didn't say another word. In his eyes, these guys in front of him were still too young and childish. Arrogant, show-off, childish, materialistic. Wenrui, why go and try to get on the good books of an inferior person? Do you still want to get some clothes? I'll help you pick some. Jiang Shuang looked at him and tried to console him. "It's fine." Jia Wenrui shook his head while looking at Jiang Shuang. "Let's go get your clothes. I'll buy a set for you." "Really? You are the best, Wenrui." Jiang Shuang was taken aback and spoke in ecstasy. "Let's go." Jia Wenrui took a glance at Wang Xian and Xiaoyu with a heavy expression before heading to the third floor. Jiang Shuang was full of smiles as she followed behind and the group of guys quickly followed too. Wang Xian saw that the group had left before looking to Xiaoyu and Xiaomi by her side. He shrugged his shoulders and asked, "Do you all still want to follow them?" Xiaomi had a bitter look and looked to Xiaoyu. "We don't belong to the same circle as them. Why don't we go on our own?" "Yeah." Xiaoyu nodded her head. She hesitated before adding, "We are really not the same kind. Let's not follow them. After all, we will not be in the same class in the future." Alright. Let's go. Didn't I say I'd get you a big gift before school starts? Let's go up too." Wang Xian looked at her and smiled. "Brother, why don't we head back? Bring us to somewhere more interesting." Xiaoyu lifted her head and looked at him. "We can leave that for tomorrow. Let's get you some stuff today." Wang Xian's lips curved into a smile as he said to Xiaoyu, "It will be fine. Just follow me." "Brother, what are we doing upstairs?" Xiaoyu asked in doubt. "Of course, to buy things." Wang Xian smiled and pulled her to the lift. It's all right, brother. The clothes here are too expensive." Xiaoyu shook her head immediately. "Don't argue. Just follow." Wang Xian turned his head around and spoke with a strong tone. "Oh." Seeing her brother acting this way, Xiaoyu pouted and simply followed. The third floor was entirely for the ladies. Various worldwide brands were all gathered on this floor. When they arrived at the third floor, Wang Xian looked straight to a shop. Prada. There's a rather famous movie called The Queen Who Wears Prada. Prada was a luxury brand among luxury brands. It was an existence of the highest tier. It shall be this shop then. Chapter 81 Luxurious Shopping 2. Chapter 81 Luxurious Shopping 2. "Come over. Both of you stay beside me." Wang Xian tugged on Xiaoyu's arm as he spoke to her. "Brother, forget it. I know you're making some money, but it's too expensive here." Xiaoyu looked at those luxury brands around her with her eyebrows knit. She knew that her brother was making some money, but she also understood how hard it was for her brother to work for it. She had remained thrifty since young. Hence, she had no desire for these branded clothes except for the practical stuff. Moreover, the clothes here were too expensive. How much money could her brother have? "Just follow me." Wang Xian's heart ached for his sister as he stroked her hair. Girls at her age often asked for money to buy clothes and makeup. But his sister was unwilling to spend money on expensive food just to save up. "Xiaoyu, stop being naggy and follow me today. I know how much I have and how much I can spend. I'm not spending it blindly." Wang Xian stared at Xiaoyu and said solemnly. "Well, fine then." Upon seeing the serious look on her brother's face, Xiaoyu was touched as she held his hand. "That's better. Follow me." With a smile on his face, Wang Xian walked straight into the Prada store. "Welcome." The greeters at the door immediately greeted them. Wang Xian brought them around as he looked at the clothes. He nodded with satisfaction and told the salesgirl, "Get them a set of clothes each. I want pretty clothes that are suitable for their age." The salesgirl was slightly stunned as she looked at Xiao Yu and Xiaomi hastily. She nodded. "Yes, sir. Ladies, please come over here. It's the summer season now and girls look the best in skirts. This is the most popular Prada skirt series this year. Both of you look like students. This series suits students the most." The salesgirl introduced the clothes to Xiao Yu and Xiaomi enthusiastically. Xiao Yu was stunned. She saw the dresses which the salesgirls were holding onto. They were pretty, but her gaze drifted to the price tag. $33,299. That was the price of the skirt. "Brother, this place. We better go to other." Xiao Yu was anxious when she saw the rocket-high prices. How could she afford such expensive clothes? Wang Xian stroked her head and took out a bank card from his pocket. "Today, let's just finish off the money on the card." It was the diamond card from Agricultural Bank of China with more than 5 million. Wang Xian was not short on money now. When he treated Little Kite the other time, the card that old Qin gave him had 20 million on it. With the revenue his first-grade restaurant was earning, he had difficulty spending his money away. As Wang Xian spoke, he handed the salesgirl the card. "Bring them the clothes." The salesgirl was stupefied with the diamond card Wang Xian handed to her. As an experienced salesperson, she knew the card well. Forget about how much money was stored inside, it was definitely enough even if it was overdraft consumption. "Yes, sir. I'll be choosing the clothes for them," said the salesgirl excitedly. "Brother, did you make a fortune?" Xiao Yu could not help but ask when she saw his generosity. "Here, ladies. Let's try on the clothes and see which skirt looks the best," the salesgirl said to them. Wang Xian smiled at Xiao Yu. Without answering her question, he beckoned to her to go with the salesgirl. "Senior Wang Xian, you can get the clothes for Xiao Yu." "I don't need it." Xiaomi shook her head. She knew that Xiao Yu had only her brother to depend on, and their life was tough. "It's okay. Go ahead. Thank you for taking care of Xiao Yu for such a long time." Wang Xian smiled at her and said, "Just go." "This?" Xiaomi hesitated. "Xiao Yu, drag your best friend along." Upon seeing Xiaomi's look, Wang Xian instructed his sister. Xiaomi was a nice and innocent girl and both of them were on good terms. Xiao Yu had been staying in Xiaomi's house for the entire summer holiday. He would treat anyone good to Xiao Yu nicely. The salesgirl called upon another 2 salesgirls before they began to let Xiao Yu and Xiaomi try on the clothes. After she changed into a refined dress, Xiao Yu became more beautiful and gorgeous. Wang Xian was delighted with the look. "Sir, look at the clothes your sister is wearing. After school reopens, she can wear them for a very long time." The salesgirl beamed at Wang Xian. "Good. I'll take this. The one on Xiaomi looks good too. What do you think?" "If you think they are good, just get them packed for you," Wang Xian said directly. "This is not bad too. Pack it for me." "Senior Wang Xian, I'll take this one. The rest are fine. It's too expensive." "Okay, I'll buy a bag for you when I get one for Xiao Yu later." Wang Xian nodded to Xiaomi. After paying for their items, the 3 sets of clothes cost a total of $100,300. "Let's go. After these 2 dresses we need to get other styles too. Let's get another 2 more sets." Wang Xian smiled and spoke with the bags of clothes in his hand. After shopping in the Prada shop, Wang Xian dragged Xiao Yu out while she was still in bewilderment. "Brother, why do you have so much money?" Xiao Yu asked in disbelief. "I own a restaurant now." You'll find out tonight. Today's mission is to finish off the card." Wang Xian flashed his card again and laughed. "Xiao Yu, your brother is really awesome now." Xiaomi exclaimed in bewilderment. "Let's go. This one Louis Vuitton." Wang Xian headed to the shop in front of him. Louis Vuitton, the world's biggest luxury brand, also known as the often said LV. Wang Xian was a traditional man. Once he was rich, he wanted to get the best things for his sister. "Welcome." The salesgirl immediately greeted them with a smile as soon as she saw them strolling in. Wang Xian observed the shop. Women's clothes bags. Just nice he would get them all. "Pick 2 sets of clothes for her," Wang Xian told the salesgirl and turned to Xiao Yu and Xiaomi. "Take a look and choose your favorite bag." Soon they got 2 sets of clothes and 2 bags with more than $140,000 spent on the card. After they came out of the shop, Xiao Yu recovered slightly from the shock and asked Wang Xian with a smiling face, "Brother, how much money does your card have?" Do you intend to make me into a little princess? You'll know it after you're done. Let's go. We have clothes and bags now. Girls must have shoes. Oh, and some accessories and cosmetics even though you're a natural beauty. Wang Xian smiled at Xiaoyu. Let's go, little princess. Off to level 4. Charge. My brother has become a rich man. I'm a rich man's sister. Xiaoyu was thrilled as she regained the sweet and adorable side of her. She skipped her way up to level 4 for more shopping. Chapter 82 Luxurious Shopping 3. Chapter 82 Luxurious Shopping 3. Brother, we have already spent over $70,000 on skincare products. How much money is left on the card? All items we have bought add up to over $300,000. Walking out from the Lancome shop, Wang Xian had a few other things in his hands. Currently his hands were full of bags. However, with his current strength it was an easy task to carry all these. Let's go on. We haven't gotten any shoes. Wang Xian smiled. He was also very delighted to see his sister being so jubilant. This was the first time he could buy her things without reserve. There's a watch shop right there. You guys can go and take a look first while I organize the things in my hands. There are too many bags right now, Wang Xian said to his sister. Senior, let us help you with some of those, Xiaomi said, feeling a little embarrassed. Wang Xian shook his head and smiled. It's fine. These aren't heavy anyway. Go and take a look first while I organize these. Alright, I'll go with Xiaomi then. Brother, you can be our bodyguard today. Hehe. Xiaoyu smiled as she pulled along Xiaomi into the Patek Philippe watch shop. When the two of them entered, they saw a group of familiar people immediately. Jianghu was in front of the cabinet trying out the watches. The price of this watch is a little over $37,000. It's a discounted item in our shop and looks great on you, the store attendant said to Jianghu. Jianghu looked at the watch on her and was truly fond of it. However, her family only gave her $60,000 this time. If she bought this, she would be a little tight on money. Therefore, she was a little hesitant. Why did they follow us here? At this moment, a guy behind her was surprised to see Xiaoyu and Xiaomi walk into the shop. We didn't follow you guys here. We are here to take a look at our own accord, Xiaomi looked at them and said. Xiaoyu saw Jia Wenrui and the group look over but didn't pay attention to them. She walked over to the cabinet in front of her and started looking at the watches within it. These watches are so expensive. Xiaoyu was a little shocked by the prices of these watches. As compared to luxury bags, the prices of watches were even more eye-popping. Just a casual watch would cost $30,000 to $40,000. There were even some that cost over $100,000 or even several hundreds of thousands. Patek Philippe is a world-class watch brand. A good watch could cost as much as a luxury car, Xiaomi reminded her from the side. Xiaoyu's jaw dropped open. She looked into the cabinet and saw a watch that cost $80,000. This watch is so beautiful. Hey salesgirl, can you take this out for us to take a look? Xiaomi said to a salesgirl standing at the side. Tisk, shameless. At this moment, Jianghu, who was sitting a short distance away and trying out a watch, looked over at Xiaoyu and Xiaomi with deep contempt. You guys should take a look at the price of the watch. Can you guys even afford it? Taking a look? Can you all pay for it if you scratch it? When the salesgirl heard what Jianghu said, she looked at Xiaomi and Xiaoyu with hesitation. They were wearing very ordinary clothes. It was especially so for Xiaoyu. In fact, one could say that her clothes were of rather poor quality. They weren't wearing any accessories and didn't look like they could afford the watch at all. Are you sure you are buying? The salesgirl in front of Jianghu asked them. Xiaomi and Xiaoyu were furious upon hearing this. This was their first time in such a luxury watch shop and it was natural for them to feel angry when being questioned in such a way by the salesgirl. Can't I try it if I'm not sure? Xiaomi replied angrily. She knew that Xiaoyu's brother was rich and could afford it. He not sure? Jianghu laughed in a condescending manner. She looked at them and added, Can you guys afford it? Can't you see the price on it? You should have taken a look at yourself. If you can't afford it, it's better if you don't try it on, the salesgirl said after hearing the words of the customer in front of her. Did you see this? If you don't have the money, don't shop around here and waste everyone's time, Jianghu mocked. The words of the salesgirl and Jianghu made the faces of Xiaomi and Xiaoyu turn red rapidly. They were all 18 to 19 years old girls and naturally wouldn't have encountered such mockery and belittlement. Wait, who says that we can't afford it? Xiaomi was seething in anger. Her eyes had turned a little red from both anger and embarrassment. TSK. Jiang Shuang sneered and stood up directly. She said to the salesgirl in front of her, "I'll be taking this watch on me. Please wrap it up for me." "Thank you, miss. Thank you, miss." That salesgirl was thrilled and immediately walked over. "I'll be paying by card." Jiang Shuang held out a bank card. "Xiao Yu." At this moment, Jia Wenrui suddenly walked over to Xiao Yu, who looked ghastly. He took a glance at the watch in the cabinet. "If you like it, I'll buy it for you, but you have to be my girlfriend." Jia Wenrui put on a strong front. He stared intensely at Xiao Yu and continued, "I can give you a life that you could never imagine. All you have to do is to agree to be my girlfriend and you wouldn't have to suffer with your brother. All you have to do is to agree and you will never have to be looked down on by a salesgirl in a shop." Jia Wenrui revealed a confident look. He knew that his words could definitely move a girl. To him, no one would choose to not pursue a better life. As long as she was with him, he was able to provide. Wenrui. Jiang Shuang was shocked upon hearing Jia Wenrui. Her face quickly sank and turned hideous as she walked over. "Wenrui, she's just a little brat from a village. Her dressing is bad and her family is poor. Why would you?" "Shut up." At this moment, a cold shout pierced through the atmosphere. Even the temperature in the whole shop seemed to have fallen by several degrees. Wang Xian happened to overhear Jia Wenrui's words when he walked in after organizing the bags in his hand. He also heard what the girl with the online celebrity's face said about his sister. This made his face twitch with anger. "Brother?" Xiao Yu saw Wang Xian and immediately walked to him. Her face was still a little red with embarrassment and anger. "Senior Wang Xian." Xiaomi also walked over. Wang Xian looked condescendingly at Jiang Shuang and Jia Wenrui. "Thrash. Thrash that is so full of yourself just because your family is rich." Wang Xian looked coldly at Jia Wenrui and continued, "Give my sister a life she cannot imagine? With how you are currently. Do you know how much these things in my hands are? Did your parents give you enough money? Salesgirl, get me the most expensive and the best female watch in this shop." Wang Xian placed the things in his hands on the cabinet as he spoke coldly. Clothes from Prada, bags and clothes from LV, skincare products from Lancome. All of them were the latest design. One of the salesgirls saw the 7 to 8 bags on the cabinet and was surprised. These things would most likely cost $200,000 to $300,000. All right, a salesgirl quickly replied. "Sir, these are the best female watches we have. This watch has diamonds embedded at this spot and sapphire here. This watch. Payment by card," Wang Xian said as he pointed to the watch he felt looked the best. "Sir, are you really going to buy? This watch costs $888,000. Are you sure?" The voice of the salesgirl was trembling. "Wrap it up." Wang Xian threw the card on it directly. "Yes, sir." That salesgirl was thrilled. What a rich tycoon to spend $888,000 without batting an eye. "Get your manager here," Wang Xian said coldly to the salesgirl. "Yes, sir." That salesgirl was shocked and quickly ran to a small storage room at the back. A middle-aged woman walked out and looked at Wang Xian. With a warm tone, she greeted, "Sir, thank you for visiting Patek Philippe. Is there anything you need?" "My sister was here a while ago and was looked down on by your salesgirl." "Give me an explanation," Wang Xian said to the middle-aged manager with an indifferent tone. The middle-aged manager was shocked and frowned at the salesgirl. As an international brand, they had very high demands for the quality of service and cared a lot about word of mouth. Now, this young customer who spent $888,000 without batting an eye was questioning her directly and wanted her to give him an explanation. In such a scenario, she really had to give him an explanation. Everyone around was dumbfounded. When Jia Wenrui heard Wang Xian calling him thrash, he had wanted to retort. However, when he saw the luxury goods in his hands, he was stunned. He knew very clearly about these things. The prices of these items in Xiao Yu's brother's hand weren't cheap. He was even more shocked when he saw Xiao Yu's brother buy a female watch that cost $888,000 immediately. At the same time, Jiang Shuang was watching Wang Xian's actions in disbelief. He bought an $888,000 female watch without batting an eye. The other young men were even more shocked. $8880, $888,000 for a single watch. This. Didn't they say that Xiao Yu and her brother only had each other since young and had a tough life? This is what they consider tough. Chapter 83, What's the Gap? Chapter 83, What's the Gap? Sir, I would like to apologize on behalf of my staff. I'll also answer to you. The manager made a bow to Wang Xian, apologizing before he turned to the salesgirl and inquired on the incident. Xiao Yu, come over, Wang Xian beckoned her. Which salesgirl despised you just now? Brother, it's nothing. She was just asking if we can afford it. If we can't, then don't bother to try it on. Xiao Yu was slightly embarrassed when she repeated the incident again. Hee, we can't even try when we're not buying? Wang Xian sneered at the manager. Of course not. Those who walk into our shop are our customers. We'll let customers try on the watches. The manager was looking woeful when he was being accused by Wang Xian. He looked at those salesgirls and asked coldly, who was the one who said no trying? Manager, I thought they were. The salesgirl whimpered as she tried to explain to her manager with a pale-looking face. Don't explain to me. If all our staff behaved like you, could we even do any business? Who told you that customers cannot try on the watches? The manager cut her off without any emotion. Pack your things. Our store has no means to keep such an employee like you. Manager, I'm in the wrong. Please give me a chance, the salesgirl pleaded. The manager frowned and looked at Wang Xian, who was watching everything with his impassive look as always. The manager gritted his teeth. Cut your words and resign now. What a snob, said Wang Xian to the salesgirl emotionlessly. The salesgirl looked over with a pale-looking face as she was filled with regret. Just then the other salesgirl packed the watch and said to Wang Xian, Sir, your watch. Wang Xian nodded his head and took over the bag before he passed it to his sister. Take it. Everyone says girls need to be pampered when they are growing up. Even though you're a grown-up now, it's not too late now. Wang Xian smiled as he handed the watch to Xiao Yu. Then he looked at Jiao Wenrui and Jiang Shuang. You think you're rich and you can act snobbish? I didn't want to say it, but you're just brats. Many people are richer than you and your family. As he said this, he walked to Jiao Wenrui and patted his shoulder. Never mess around with my sister. You're not qualified yet. If you don't know what's good for you, I'll make sure the consequences are unbearable for you. After Wang Xian finished his sentence coldly, he turned to Xiao Yu and smiled. Let's go, sister. We are still short on shoes. Oh, do you want to get a necklace? Shall we go and get one now? No, brother. Let's go. Seeing her brother standing up for her, happiness and admiration crawled all over Xiao Yu's face. Her brother had always protected her like this. In the past, he would beat up the people who bullied her. Now, it was even more interesting. If anyone bullied her, he would slam them with money. Let's go. I have too many things in my hands. You'll have to carry some of them later. Wang Xian carried the shopping bags and headed outside. How did Xiao Yu's brother become a rich man? Gazing at their back views, a guy behind murmured in shock. Jiao Wenrui was looking sulky as his mouth twitched. What Wang Xian had said just now was an outright contempt, humiliation for how he was behaving on the first story just now. Yet he did not dare to say anything. Since Wang Xian could take out $880,000 like a breeze for a watch, he could be someone formidable in the river town. He dared not rebuke as he was afraid Wang Xian would find someone to hurt him. Jiang Shuang, on the other side, gazed at the back of Xiao Yu with jealousy. Why does Jiao Wenrui detest herself and like Xiao Yu? Why does she have such a formidable brother? She took a glance at the watch she bought with heartache. Her face paled when she thought of the expensive watch Xiao Yu's brother had bought without thinking. It was futile to make a comparison. Okay, brother. We've got enough stuff. Everything is in. After getting the shoes, they even bought a few sets of lingerie. Xiao Yu was carrying some shopping bags when she spoke to Wang Xian. Yes, everything including the clothes is in. Wang Xian pondered as he observed the things in his hand. We're still short a notebook, a phone, and another iPad. That should be done. Oh, Xiao Yu, what else do you need? Gosh, my dear beloved brother. It's enough. The computer and such. You will get to use the computer. There's an Apple store here. Let's go. Wang Xian interrupted her and walked out on his own. Xiao Yu looked at her brother and followed behind with a happy smile. The gadgets were not expensive. A laptop, a phone, and an iPad cost only $30,000. Brother, we're really done with the shopping. Let's put these things in your dormitory, shall we? Xiaoyu smiled as she looked at Wang Xian, whose hands were full of shopping bags. I'll get you girls a hotel. Let's put the things inside and take a rest. Wang Xian smiled and said, All right, brother. Xiaoyu nodded. Wang Xian looked around and fixed his gaze on the Summer Sun International Hotel, the hotel owned by Shui family. Come on, follow me. As Wang Xian spoke, he took the lead in front and headed towards the Summer Sun International Hotel. When Xiaoyu was at the entrance, she gazed at the hotel's name and murmured, Summer Sun International Hotel, 5-star hotel. If it were in the past, she would never allow her brother to let her stay in such an expensive accommodation. But now she has seen how her brother behaved like a nouveau riche. Hence she was adapting to it slowly. Babe, give me a presidential suite. Wang Xian came to the reception desk and said to the receptionist. I'm sorry, sir. Our presidential suites are all fully booked. Would you like to choose another room? The receptionist apologized to Wang Xian. Brother, Xiaomi and I can stay in a standard room. There's no need for a presidential suite. Don't waste your money. Xiaoyu tugged his hand immediately. Fine. Just get me any room. Wang Xian nodded his head reluctantly. He took out the family membership card that the Shui family gave him and handed it to the receptionist. When the pretty receptionist received the family membership card, she was slightly stunned as she was shocked to see the Summer Sun membership card. When she swiped the card on the machine, the computer immediately sounded off. Welcome our distinguished members for the family membership card. You'll enjoy the best service in the hotel. The pretty receptionist was stunned while the other two receptionists popped over immediately. They were shocked to say, it's the Homeland card, the most prestigious membership in the Summer Sun Hotel. Members will get to enjoy the best service in the hotel for free. Gosh. The pretty girl who was holding the card recovered from her shock. She immediately said respectfully, Sorry, sir. Our hotel has reserved a separate presidential suite dedicated to the members of the Homeland card. I'll take you there now. Sure, thanks. Wang Xian nodded. You're welcome, the pretty receptionist replied immediately. Xiaoyu and Xiaomi were staring at Wang Xian with surprise. Chapter 84, Getting a Car, 1. Chapter 84, Getting a Car, 1. Brother? This hotel you... When Xiaoyu saw the enthusiastic or rather respectful actions of the front desk receptionist, she couldn't contain her curiosity and asked. Oh, this hotel belongs to a friend of mine, the Shui family. They also have another holiday resort by the sea. This membership card was a gift from them. With this, everything will be free in this hotel and the holiday resort. Moreover, we will be able to enjoy the best service. Wang Xian explained to Xiaoyu nonchalantly. I'll find some time to bring you guys over to the holiday resort to play after tomorrow. It's pretty good. It's also a 5-star holiday resort. Xiaoyu's mouth opened and had a shocked expression. Seeing her expression, Wang Xian caressed her head and said, There's nothing your brother can't settle in Rivertown in the future. Therefore don't be scared. Be confident because you are my sister. Brother, you are so awesome now. Xiaoyu's eyes shimmered as she stared at him. I guess I'm doing pretty all right. Wang Xian smiled. Mr. Wang, we are here. This is a room we use to receive our most important guests. There will also be a personal assistant. If there's a need, you could press the service bell and your personal assistant will arrive within 2 minutes. The beautiful female front desk receptionist brought them to the highest floor after opening the door to a room. All right, thank you. Wang Xian nodded his head and walked in. The entire apartment consists of 3 rooms and a living hall. The decorations were extremely luxurious and one could see the beautiful city center by simply drawing the curtains and looking out. Wow, what a huge room. Xiaomi looked around with surprise. Not bad. You guys could stay here tonight. Wang Xian put the things down, sat on the sofa and poured a cup of water for himself. Take a break for now. It's only 3 p.m. Let's go get something else in a while. We are still getting more? Brother, we already have all the things we need. Xiaoyu sat beside him. She held on to Wang Xian's arm and said, Brother, you are so nice to me. Great that you know your brother is nice to you. Take a 10-minute break. What we are getting in a while will be useful to me too. Moreover, I have said that we are going to spend all the money on the card. Wang Xian smiled. After taking a short break, Wang Xian brought Xiao Yu and Xiao Mi out and called for a car. "Sir, please take us to Cheyun Street," Wang Xian said to the driver. Taking a look at the car exhibition, the driver smiled at them and asked, "Car exhibition?" Wang Xian was surprised and asked, "Sir, is there a car exhibition today?" "Yeah, don't you know about that? I thought you were going to the car exhibition. Today's the last day of the exhibition. There are quite a number of people at the car exhibition." "And a lot of beautiful models?" The driver raised his eyebrows. "Oh, are there a lot of cars on exhibition?" Wang Xian asked. "Yeah, how could there not be? There are lots of supercars. The scale of this car exhibition is really big. You will know once you see it in a while." The driver nodded his head. Cheyun Street was where the 4S showrooms for cars in Rivertown were gathered. Anyone who wished to buy a car in Rivertown would typically come to this place. After alighting the car, Wang Xian brought Xiao Yu and Xiao Mi and looked ahead. In the direction they were facing, there were many banners hanging around. The biggest one of all read Rivertown 5th Car Exhibition. The exhibition hall was huge and one could see many people shopping in it. There were cars of various brands on display. "Let's go and get you a car. The reason why I've asked you to learn to drive in the summer is so you could become brother's driver." Wang Xian chuckled. "How could you let your sister be your driver? You are so thick-skinned." Xiao Yu rolled her eyes at him but still followed Wang Xian in. "Isn't that because I have no time to get a license?" Wang Xian laughed and walked ahead. "There are quite a number of people at this car exhibition. There are a lot of models here too." Wang Xian looked around and saw many people. Some were looking at the cars while many others were looking at the car models. In front of each car brand there were 3 to 4 car models. These car models were wearing seductive clothes that complemented their great figures. The cleavage they were showing added heat to the already hot summer. There were also quite a number of people taking photos, amongst which many were taking photos of these car models. Wow, there are so many people in cars. Xiao Yu and Xiao Mi looked around them and were observing the surroundings in curiosity. This car's look is so beautiful. Right ahead of Xiao Yu and at the entrance, there were several luxurious cars that were worth several million on display. Xiao Yu pointed to a Rolls-Royce and exclaimed, "Rolls-Royce Phantom. This car costs at least $6 to $7 million. Wang Xian looked at the Rolls-Royce and was getting a little excited too. Men always had a love for supercars. Therefore, it was only natural that he would like such a domineering-looking car. However, he didn't have a license and couldn't drive a car. And the Rolls-Royce was clearly not suitable for Xiao Yu. "Let's go take a look around," Wang Xian said to them before walking further in. "Wow, this sports car is so cool." Xiao Mi's eyes lit up when she saw the Lamborghini beside her. "Yeah. However, it would probably be hard to drive if the road conditions are bad. That Benz ahead looks pretty domineering. Benz G-Series, the love of every man. Senior Wang Xian, why don't you get a car like this? Would be so cool." Xiao Yu and Xiao Mi looked at the same car fervently as they commented raucously. Wang Xian simply smiled and agreed with what they were commenting as they looked through the collection of cars. This car exhibition was indeed pretty large scale. One could easily see international luxury car brands in this exhibition. Wang Xian was trying to decide on a car to get for Xiao Yu. He had looked up information on this a few days ago. For a girl, a Maserati would be more suitable and a top-end Maserati would cost less than $3 million. Nonetheless, he still wanted Xiao Yu to make her own decision and would like to see what she would like to drive. Wow, that car is so stunning. Yeah, it's really stunning and it's pink. That's simply beautiful. At this moment, Xiao Yu exclaimed and walked ahead. Xiao Mi's eyes followed Xiao Yu as she walked over too. Wang Xian lifted his head and looked over. It was a pink Bentley Continental. A look at it was enough to capture the hearts of any young girl. The elegance and luxury of a Bentley paired with its pink color made it a classic car that fair, rich and beautiful woman would prefer. Seeing Xiao Yu's excited expression, Wang Xian followed behind. Wow, stunning. A Bentley. A Bentley is very expensive and would cost at least a few million. Nonetheless, this pink Bentley is really breathtaking. Yeah. However, driving this car around would be a little too eye-catching. Xiao Yu and Xiao Mi were discussing and couldn't help but take out their phones to take a few photos. Wang Xian simply smiled by the side and didn't comment. After looking at this car for several minutes, these two girls continued walking forward. At the display area of Maserati, Xiao Yu and Xiaomi exclaimed in unison. Girls typically preferred this car brand. And this car model was also more suitable for a girl to drive. Chapter 85, Getting a Car, 2. Chapter 85, Getting a Car, 2. Those are the common brands inside. Wang Xian, Xiaoyu and Xiaomi were shopping around the car show. All the luxury cars were placed at the entrance. As they walked further in, the cars in the show were mostly low to mid-range brands. The three of them walked one round briefly. Which car looks better? Asked Wang Xian to Xiaoyu with a smile. In terms of appearance, the pink Bentley is the nicest. Maserati is pretty, but if we're getting a car, I suppose a BMW or Mercedes-Benz will do, said Xiaoyu to Wang Xian with a smile. Come with me. Wang Xian nodded and smiled. He thought that since he was still left with over 4 million in his card, it should be enough to get that pink Bentley. When they returned to the pink Bentley, many people were gathered around and the majority of them were ladies. The pink Bentley gave off youthful vibe amid elegance. Indeed, it was attractive to the ladies. Hubby, when you have the money, you can get me the pink Bentley, right? No problem, wifey. Tomorrow. If I got the lady of luck tomorrow, I'd buy it for you. Tomorrow? Hubby, why do we have to wait till tomorrow? I bought a lottery ticket and the result will only release at night. If I win the first prize, we can come and collect the Bentley immediately. You go to hell. When they walked over, they overheard the young couple's conversation. Everyone around them was smiling amiably. This car is lovely, but it's too expensive. The entire car would cost 2 million. Alas. A middle-aged man who dressed like a successful businessman in his suit shook his head. It's Bentley. Even slightly cheaper ones will cost 3 million. The price of this pink Bentley can buy 2 decent houses. A girl next to the car mumbled as she could not stop taking pictures of the vehicle. Many people fancied the car, but they were being put off by the price. 2 million? Wang Xian observed the car carefully. He made a decision after he noticed that Xiaoyu took a fancy to the car. Hey, handsome. Wang Xian called upon the salesman who was standing next to the car. Sir, how may I help you? The young salesman looked at Wang Xian puzzledly and asked with a smile. Can we do a test drive? As Wang Xian asked, he took out a bank card. We'll buy it immediately if we're satisfied with it. That young salesman was slightly taken aback as he looked at the bank card in Wang Xian's hand. Immediately he replied, Sir, hang on. I'll get my manager here. Okay. Wang Xian nodded. Brother. After the conversation, Xiaoyu tugged Wang Xian's arm and shook her head. Brother, this is too expensive. Besides, it's too striking. I told you to finish the money on the card. After getting this car, the card should have about $30,000 left. Just nice for your pocket money. Wang Xian chuckled. You still have more than 4 million on it? Xiaoyu's eyes were agape with her lips slightly parted. She looked cute with her shocked look. This afternoon they had already spent almost $300,000 on their clothes and bags. After paying for a watch that cost nearly $900,000, the card still had more than $4 million on it. Gosh, he's a nouveau riche indeed. Diamond card from the Agricultural Bank of China. To get that card, you'll need at least $5 million in your account. Someone is really buying the pink Bentley. He's rich. This is the true blue nouveau riche. Buying a Bentley for his sister. Why don't I have such a good brother? He's the rich second generation. I'm sure. It seems like they spent the money on the card in just a day. Oh gosh. The crowd stared at Wang Xian shockingly. A slender and tall figure with good-looking appearance. At the same time, he had a unique demeanor which gave off a noble vibe. But the two girls beside him were somewhat ordinary even though they were pretty. After all, there were too many pretty girls in this era. Xiaoyu, your brother is filthy rich now. He is actually buying you a Bentley that is over $4 million. If you drive this to school, I really can't imagine. Xiaomi shook Xiaoyu on her arm as she spoke with her eyes bright. Xiaomi, do you think I've become rich overnight? Asked Xiaoyu dumbfoundedly. You're a swan that turns into a phoenix now. I envy that you have such an awesome brother. Xiaomi said with envy. Hee hee. Xiaoyu chuckled as she wrapped her arms around Wang Xian's arm. Sir, are you buying this car? At this time, a middle-aged man was taking big steps as he followed beside the young salesman. With enthusiasm he asked Wang Xian. Yes, but can we do a test drive? Wang Xian asked. Money is not an issue. We'll buy the car immediately if there's no problem. Sure, of course. The middle-aged manager answered without the slightest hesitation. He knew that the young man had the buying power. Great, where can we do the test drive? Asked Wang Xian. Sir, there's a place outside just for test driving. I'll accompany you guys there, the middle-aged manager replied immediately. Okay, Wang Xian nodded and looked at Xiaoyu with a smile. Let's go for a test drive. Brother, I've only had my driving license for a few days. What if I damage the car? Xiaoyu said with a bitter face as she did not dare to drive. She knew the repair cost of the car would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's okay. The manager next to you will remind you. Besides, the car is insured after you buy it. If you hit the car, just repair it. Wang Xian smiled as he spoke without much thought. The manager next to them chuckled when he heard Wang Xian. Yes, babe. Don't worry. There was another sentence that he did not spell out. Nouveau riches are rich. You don't need to worry. Fine. Xiaoyu nodded her head and walked to the car. The middle-aged manager sat in the passenger seat to drop reminders to her. Wang Xian and Xiaomi were seated at the back seats. Here, babe, I'll do an introduction. The middle-aged manager got into the car and began introducing the various functions of the luxury car to Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu listened with flickering radiance in her eyes. The functions of this car were not what the cars in the driving school could compare to. Let's go. We'll take a drive out for 2 laps. The middle-aged manager said with a smile. Xiaoyu took a deep breath and spun to look at her brother. Don't worry and drive on. Don't be scared, Wang Xian said with a smile. Yes, brother. Xiaoyu nodded and drove out cautiously. She was driving with care as she had just gotten her license. But after 2 rounds of the test drive, she got her smile back on her face. Driving a luxury car was better than driving those ordinary cars. To a certain extent, it was a comfortable ride. Wang Xian looked at Xiaoyu's smile and turned to the middle-aged manager sitting at the passenger's seat. I'll get this car. Prepare all the paperwork for us. Sure, we promise to get you all the paperwork done today. The middle-aged manager was excited as his eyes were beaming. Sir, I'll return to the showroom first. You can take a seat over there while waiting. Sure. Wang Xian nodded. They drove the car back to the car show and followed the manager back to the 4S showroom. Director Cui, you're here. The Bentley showroom was spacious, and the decorations were extravagant with various luxurious Bentley cars in it. After they entered the showroom, the manager saw a middle-aged man speaking to a couple with polite smiles. He was slightly stunned as he hurriedly greeted them. Yes, I just arrived. Director Cui nodded and said. Manager Zhao, young Master Lin is buying that pink Bentley. Please help him with the paperwork. Manager Zhao revealed a shocked face and said hastily, Director Cui, a customer was about to pay for that car. Is it sold? The young man beside Director Cui knit his eyebrows slightly. Young Master Lin, not yet. When Director Cui heard the young man asking, he quickly replied, This car was prepared for you. How can we sell it? As Director Cui spoke, he looked at Manager Zhao. Let the customer know that the pink Bentley is already sold. We can recommend other cars for them. Chapter 86, Smash. Chapter 86, Smash. You don't have to inform us. We have overheard everything. Wang Xian frowned upon hearing their conversation and walked over slowly. Director Cui was slightly shocked and looked at Wang Xian in surprise. However, he quickly recovered and maintained a smile on his face. I'm really sorry about this, brother, but this pink Bentley has been ordered by someone. If you would still like to have it, you could wait a month and I'll get the Bentley headquarters to custom make one for you. There should be a sequence in buying a car. When we want to buy it, this car hasn't been sold. Now that we are about to buy it, you're telling me that it has already been booked? Isn't this out of line? Are you fooling with me? Wang Xian looked at Director Cui and spoke indifferently. When Director Cui heard his words, his eyebrows knitted together. He was also wary of offending Wang Xian, as one who could afford a car over $4 million definitely wouldn't be a simple man. However, he was more wary of offending the young man beside him. Let's do it this way, brother. Why don't you take a look at other models of car, or perhaps you could wait for a month. I'll get one made for you from the headquarters. Director Cui looked at him and said. You can say this to the young man beside you, Wang Xian replied. Wang Xian's reply made Director Cui's face sink. His eyebrows were closely knitted together. In that case, I'm sorry, brother, There's nothing I can do. This car has already been booked by another customer. You haven't even paid for it. He's free to sell it to whoever he wants. What's there to quarrel about? The beautiful girl beside the young man looked at Wang Xian and said, clearly annoyed. That pink Bentley was for her and she naturally wouldn't allow anyone to snatch it away from her. The young man looked on nonchalantly and didn't say a word. That's not wrong, but I'm not happy about it. Wang Xian smiled and said slowly, I'm a consumer and I'm not here looking to suffer such unjust feelings. There are many unjust things in the world. What can you do about it? Brat. It's good for you to go through these experiences. The young man sneered when he saw how Wang Xian reacted. Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders and looked to the manager and director Cui. We are here to buy a car and not for this. After trying out for so long and being just about to buy, you're telling me it has been booked? Moreover, it's clear that the other party hasn't bought it yet. Hey brother, we are the seller. When Director Cui heard his words, his expression got even heavier. We are free to choose who we would like to sell to. Don't you hear them? They are free to choose who they want to sell to. What are you blabbering about? Annoying. They have already said that they aren't selling it to you. The beautiful girl at the side crossed her arms and remarked sarcastically. Great, great. A cold look surfaced on Wang Xian's face as the anger in him had built up. He was angry over what Director Cui had said. After trying the car for half an hour and being just about to pay for the car, he was told that the car had been sold to another person. Moreover, they weren't the slightest bit apologetic about it. Saying that they were free to sell to whoever they chose was the final straw. Whoever encountered such an incident naturally wouldn't feel good about it. In that case, I'll let you pay a price for it. Wang Xian remarked coldly. Since they had made him unhappy, he would also make them unhappy. Price? When Director Cui heard him, he smirked coldly and stared at Wang Xian with contempt. I would like to see what price you could make us pay. TSK. Get out of my shop immediately. So arrogant? I wonder where he was from. Young Master Lin looked at Wang Xian from the side. Don't be so arrogant in River Town. Otherwise you might not even know how you will die. I sure would like to know how I would die in River Town. The vibes of a divine dragon started spreading from his body gradually. Brother, let's just let it go. I'm not interested in this car anymore. Xiao Yu looked at the crowd around her. She started feeling a little worried and pulled Wang Xian's arm. When Wang Xian heard her sister, he released his aura and joked, Xiao Yu, just stand aside and watch. I'll let you see what your brother is capable of today. There's no one we need to be afraid of in River Town. Brother. Wang Xian caressed her head before turning his attention to Director Cui, young Master Lin and the girl. Didn't you hear me? This is my territory. Get out of here, you brazen brat. Director Cui met Wang Xian's gaze. A newborn calf isn't afraid of a tiger. An arrogant brat like you would suffer a terrible death. Young Master Lin lit a cigarette and looked at Wang Xian as though he was watching a show. In that case, let's see if I will have a terrible death. Wang Xian smirked and noticed a large hammer used for repairs at one side. He walked towards it directly. Brat, what do you think you are trying to do? When Director Cui saw Wang Xian go and pick up the hammer, his expression changed as he roared loudly. Young Master Lin also raised his eyebrows and stared coldly at Wang Xian. What am I trying to do? Since you made me unhappy, I'll just have to vent it out a little. Wang Xian's lips curved into a smile and he turned his attention to within the shop. There were approximately 10 Bentleys in the shop. He carried the hammer and walked to the nearest one to him. Bang! The hammer smashed heavily on the Bentley, forming a huge dent from the ginormous impact. You? Director Cui's expression turned ghastly upon seeing Wang Xian smash the Bentley. Bastard, stop it right now. Otherwise I won't hold back. I'm going to smash this shop and would like to see what will happen to me. Wang Xian glanced at him with murderous intent. The hammer in his hand smashed down on the Bentley once again. A huge dent appeared after a single smash. After smashing the Bentley 4-5 times, the Bentley looked completely wrecked. However, Wang Xian didn't stop and simply walked to the next Bentley to continue smashing. Stop. Call security. Get the security over here and kill him. Seeing that Wang Xian had smashed 2 Bentleys, Director Cui's eyes had turned red in anger as he roared loudly. The young man by the side threw the cigarette on the floor and stared at Wang Xian callously. Wang Xian smiled plainly and said, after I've smashed all the cars, do show me what will happen to me. Currently Wang Xian wasn't afraid of anyone in Rivertown. Qin family's influence could help him settle anything in the society. As for the underworld, he was even less wary of anyone. Bam bam bam. Incessant thumping pierced through the atmosphere. Wang Xian had already smashed 5 Bentleys when the security guards arrived one after another. Stop. You better stop. When the 4 security guards saw Wang Xian smashing the Bentley, they were shocked. These are Bentleys that cost over $3 million each. Yet he dared to just smash. And he had already smashed 5 of them. Wang Xian saw the group of security guards and smiled. He threw the hammer in his hand on the floor and stared at the red-eyed Director Cui. Come, I have just smashed 5 cars. Let me see what will happen to me. Bastard, you are dead. You are as good as dead. Seeing the fearless look on Wang Xian, he pulled out a phone directly. He didn't call for the police but dialed another number. The young master of the Ren family was here, and it seemed that young Master Ren wasn't in a good mood. If he knew that there was someone causing trouble here, he would definitely cripple the troublemaker. The Ren family was strong and had interest in half of the 4 showrooms. This place was just one of them. It's over. This brat is as good as dead. Chapter 87 Ren Anji's Actions. Chapter 87 Ren Anji's Actions. Ren Anji was feeling despair and had been irritated these past few days. When he recalled what had happened the few nights before, he felt immense fear. His elixir field was destroyed and now he had become a useless man. The one who ruined him was a half-step to inborn expert. He shuddered at the thought of the old man and the young man. He told his father, the current master of Ren family. When his father heard about this incident, he almost killed him to make amends with that expert. But under the persuasion of his mother, his father gave up the thought eventually. His father wanted to bring him along and apologize to them. But he gave up the thought as his father did not wish for anyone in the family to find out about this. If other elders in the family found out that he'd gotten into trouble with such a formidable expert, he would be beaten to death to atone for his sins even if his father did not do so. Blood and brutality filled the world of ancient martial arts. Even though Ren Anji escaped the calamity, his cultivation was totally ruined. Initially he had the chance to inherit the family as the leader. But now it was completely out of the question. His elixir field was completely destroyed, and it was only possible to recover with the help of an inborn expert and some medicine. Obviously, the Ren family was not capable of inviting an inborn expert to treat him. After he lost all his cultivation, he was sent to one of the organizations in the family to manage some businesses. Damn, if it was not for those 2 idiots, would I have ended up in such a state? Ren Anji was sitting in the office, staring at his computer. When he recalled what happened that day, he was fuming. If it was not for those 2 idiotic brothers-in-law, how would he have ended up in such a state? However, the 2 of them were also leading a tough life. Their limbs were crippled and they had to spend the rest of their lives in wheelchairs. Besides, his brother-in-law's family also compensated him with half of their assets. However, no matter how much money they compensated him with, it could never be enough in exchange for his cultivation. Buzz. Just when Ren Anji was feeling vexed, the phone suddenly rang. He displayed an impatient look when he saw the caller's name on the phone. Speak out now. Ren Anji screamed with an unpleasant expression. Director Ren, I'm sorry to disturb you. Something happened in our showroom. Someone smashed 5 of our Bentleys. 5 of them. That person even taunted us. What? Director Cui's voice stunned Ren Anji for a while. He raised his voice with rage. Has the person left? Ren Anji darkened his expression as he asked with radiance flickering in his eyes. Not yet, Director Ren. He's still in the showroom. Great, I'll be there. God damn it. He's asking for it. Ren Anji revealed a killing expression. He was feeling grumpy, yet someone dared to make trouble in his showroom. That person was going to be a piece of dead meat. In the entire Rivertown, everyone knew that the Rivertown 4S showroom had the backing of the Ren family. What a fucking fellow. Ren Anji stood up immediately with a cold expression as he walked to the showroom. He was going to teach that outrageous fellow a hell of a lesson. Lad, you're doomed. I'll make sure you regret what you did for the rest of your life. Just you wait. You're dead. Back at the 4S automobile showroom, Director Cui spoke to Wang Xian with a hideous look once he got the reply from Director Ren. Director Cui, who did you call just now? Young Master Lin asked with doubt when he heard how Director Cui addressed the person on the line. I called Director Ren, the son of the Ren family, Director Cui answered. He continued coldly, Director Ren will be here in no time. You are dead. The son of the Ren family? Young Master Lin was surprised as fear filled his eyes. Ren family was a huge and influential family in Rivertown. Lin family was far more inferior to them. The son of the Ren family was definitely not someone he could compare with either. Director Ren will be here in no time. You're dead. Young Master Lin looked at Wang Xian as though he was a dead man. The pretty girl beside young Master Lin grabbed his arm and scorned at Wang Xian. Lad, you're too arrogant. You actually bashed their cars when they didn't want your business. How ill-educated you are. Wang Xian swept his cold gazes when he heard them. His flickering gaze fixed on the pretty girl and young Master Lin. Just then, a voice suddenly cut the air before the person could arrive. Who the hell dares to create trouble in the Ren family's turf? Are you sick of living? When Director Cui heard the voice, his eyes flashed with happiness as he hurried over to greet the person. Director Ren, that fellow is inside. He's simply too arrogant. He bashed our cars when we didn't want to sell the car to him. Director Ren, you must teach him a lesson. Director Cui explained as he ran. With a cigarette in between his fingers, Renanji was looking cold as he saw Director Cui running to him. He nodded his head and walked inside. After he entered the showroom, he froze when he saw a young man, leaning haughtily against a Bentley. Hello, young Master Ren. I'm Lin Feng. When young Master Lin saw Renanji, he quickly went over and greeted him. Yet, Renanji could not hear what Lin Feng was talking about now. He could see darkness in front of him as if he had fallen into the abyss. This young man. He would never forget him. His serene smile. His taunting look in the eyes. He recalled that night when even that domineering half-step to inborn expert had to listen to his commands. He felt suffocated. Why is it him? How could I be so pitiful that I have to meet this devil-like young man again? Renanji shuddered in his shoes when he saw the curious and playful look in that young man's eyes. Director Ren, he's the one who smashed 5 of our cars. Director Cui pointed at Wang Xian as he howled angrily to Renanji. Renanji paused his breathing, and his expression changed dramatically when he heard Director Cui. Fuck you. Are you trying to get me killed? Renanji jumped up and slapped Director Cui hard on his face. He almost exerted all his force on it. If his internal energy was still around, Director Cui could be dead with that slap. Renanji looked at Wang Xian with bitterness as he trotted over. Boom. Next, Renanji did something that shocked everyone. He ran over and knelt in front of that young man. That's right. He knelt, and the sound of getting down on his knees was loud. Everyone was blown away by Renanji's series of actions. He slapped Director Cui hard. Then he ran over and knelt before the young man. He was the young master of the Ren family, the son of the leader of Ren family. Moreover, the Ren family was ranked as the number 2 ancient martial artist family in Rivertown. Yet, when he was confronted by the young man who smashed their cars, he actually ran over and got down on his knees. He got down on his knees. Chapter 88 Feared like a demon, revered like a god. Chapter 88 Feared like a demon, revered like a god. Young Master Wang, I didn't know it was you. I have nothing to do with this. It's all these damn guys who offended young Master Wang. I have nothing to do with them. Young Master Wang, I'll apologize to you. We are at fault in this incident. I'll apologize. Wang Xian had initially wanted to wait for the person Director Cui had called before calling Old Qin or trying to settle it by himself. However, it was beyond his expectations that the person who came was Renanji. He naturally remembered him very clearly. He was from the Ren family. Previously, he was asked by Longshan Restaurant to burn down his first-grade restaurant. At that time, he was crippled by Mo Qinglong directly. What he had never expected was that Director Ren, whom Director Cui was talking about, was none other than Renanji. Seeing Renanji kneel down beside him on the verge of tears, Wang Xian was speechless. Am I so scary? Is it fine for a guy to act like this? If Renanji knew what Wang Xian was thinking currently, he would definitely cry out loud. How is he not afraid? Not only are you horrifying, but you are also the embodiment of the devil. Damn it. With a half-step to an inborn expert as subordinate, how horrifying your background is. A single kick from you is sufficient to finish off the Ren family. If I let my father know that I just offended this devil again, I'll probably be killed by him. I was wondering who Director Cui would call. So, it happens to be someone I know. Wang Xian looked at Renanji. He rubbed his nose and found this to be a little hilarious. Young Master Wang, I didn't know it was you either. If I knew, I wouldn't have dared to come even if you beat me to death. I wouldn't dare to. Renanji was shivering as he broke into tears. Since we know each other, I believe this matter could be settled easily. Wang Xian looked at him, smiled and squatted down. Young Master Wang, we are at fault in this. I'll apologize. I'll kill Director Cui as apology. Please calm down. Renanji trembled at the sight of Wang Xian squatting down. He was completely petrified. At the other end, Director Cui, who got slapped so hard that he bled, finally started to recover from the shock. However, when he heard what Renanji said, he blanked out and lost consciousness. The security guards around couldn't help but swallow their saliva as they witnessed this unbelievable twist of events. When young Master Lin and the beautiful girl beside him saw this, their eyes were in a daze and their faces paled. Even Xiao Yu and Xiaomi were dumbfounded. Wang Xian looked around before turning to Renanji. I'm not an unreasonable man. You can be the judge for me. Young Master Wang, please carry on. Please carry on, Renanji replied immediately. Yeah, this is how it happened. I brought my sister here to buy a car and we had our eyes on a pink Bentley. After trying it out for several rounds and making the decision to buy it, Director Cui told me that the car has been sold. He said that the car was pre-booked by that young Master Lin and wouldn't sell to me. However, it was clear that at the moment we were trying out the car and had confirmed that we wanted to buy it, this car wasn't sold yet. In other words, I wanted to buy it first but he sold it to another person. Tell me if you would be angry about it if you were me? Moreover, Director Cui wasn't apologetic at all and asked me to get out. That young Master Lin and the beautiful girl beside him even said that I was arrogant, I was courting death and was uneducated. Tell me now, can you blame me for what I've done? I can't blame you. We are at fault in this. Young Master Wang, I'll definitely give you an explanation that you could be satisfied with. When Renanji heard Wang Xian finish his illustration, he gritted his teeth and replied quickly. He repeated, Young Master Wang, I'll definitely give you an explanation you could be satisfied with. Rest assured, it's those damned brats who have not followed the rules. Yeah, they are the one who did not follow the rules. I'm not an unreasonable person. Wang Xian smiled, nodded his head and extended his hand over to pat Renanji's shoulders. No. Young Master Wang, please don't. When he saw Wang Xian extending his hand over, he thought that Wang Xian was meting out punishment. His face paled as he begged for forgiveness. However, he suddenly felt a warming feeling from his elixir field. To his pleasant surprise, he noticed that his elixir field was recovering gradually. This made him stare at Wang Xian in disbelief. I'm a very reasonable person. As long as you don't offend me, I wouldn't offend you. Wang Xian patted on his shoulders and smiled. Renanji felt the power returning to his body. His face turned red in agitation and his mucus was almost spit out. Thank you, young Master Wang. Thank you, young Master Wang. Renanji was kowtowing to Wang Xian. He was unexplainably agitated as he had not expected that this devil in front of him, this godlike young man, could heal his elixir field. He had never expected this to end in such a fortunate way. Wang Xian smiled, stood up and signaled for him to stand up. Renanji stood up immediately and stood beside Wang Xian with his head lowered like a servant. For these Bentleys that I've smashed, put it on the tab of Director Cui and that young Master Lin. Also, young Master Lin and the beautiful girl beside him threatened me, saying that I wouldn't even know how I died. I leave them to you. Wang Xian smirked as he turned his attention to young Master Lin and the girl beside him. Rest assured, young Master Wang, leave this matter to me. I'll definitely not disappoint you. Renanji lifted his head and guaranteed solemnly. Since they dare to offend young Master Wang, I'll let them know what is meant by not knowing how one died. Renanji was speaking very loudly. Young Master Lin and the beautiful girl beside him could definitely hear him clearly. When they met Renanji's murderous stare, they felt a shudder down their spine and were petrified. Young Master Ren, don't. It's our fault. Please, young Master Ren. Young Master Lin's voice was trembling and he looked horrified. Renanji looked coldly at young Master Lin, smirked and said, "How dare you offend young Master Wang and behave arrogantly in front of him? Just wait and see. We will have a good time together." "Young Master Ren, you can't do this to me. It's my fault. Young Master Wang, it's all my fault. I didn't recognize that it was you. I deserve death." When Lin Feng heard the words of Renanji, he was completely flustered. He looked towards Wang Xian in horror. In his eyes, this young man was the equivalent of a devil. He was petrified. Even young Master Ren kneeled down in front of him and begged for forgiveness. Just a word from Wang Xian was enough to make young Master Ren decide to mess with him. Looking at how young Master Ren behaved, he might very well be killed. His body was trembling as he begged for forgiveness. The beautiful girl beside him had turned as white as sheet and her whole body was shivering. "Who the hell did I offend?" Wang Xian glanced at them without emotions. In the eyes of those who offended him, Wang Xian was feared like the devil. Similarly, he could also make others revere him like a god. All of this depended on his mood. If he was in a bad mood, he could cripple Renanji. Renanji's actions made him satisfied and he could cure him with a wave of his arm. Feared like a devil and revered like a god. With regard to the control he had, Wang Xian enjoyed it greatly. "Your life or death is all in my hands. Everything shall be as I wish." Chapter 89, Your Brother is a Legend. Chapter 89, Your Brother is a Legend. "Young Master Wang, I've got the paperwork done for the car. Here's the key." "No, young Master Wang, I cannot take your money. Just take it as a gift from me. Thank young Master Wang for treating my injuries. Take care and goodbye." Back in the showroom where the Bentley 4S showroom was, Renanji was thanking Wang Xian with respect and enthusiasm. Wang Xian smiled when he saw his look. "Good, I'm going off now. Young Master Wang, take care." Renanji continued with a polite smile. Wang Xian nodded and handed the car key to Xiaoyu. "Xiaoyu, you'll drive. Let's go." Oh. Xiaoyu nodded. She took over the key hurriedly and unlocked the pink Bentley. They'd gotten the luxury car without paying a single cent on it. Wang Xian sat in the car and watched smilingly at his sister who drove the car out. Renanji watched as the car dove away. He wiped the sweat on his forehead with a complicated expression on his face. What a domineering existence. I wonder if I should feel fearful or lucky to meet someone like him. Whatever it is, never provoke him. Never. He could destroy you when he is unhappy and heal you easily when he is in a good mood. Radiance flickered in Renanji's eyes as he spun his head around slowly. He gazed at Lin Feng and the pretty girl who were standing at the entrance. Just then Lin Feng slapped the girl furiously. Because of her, heat provoked that terrifying existence. "Lin Feng, count yourself unlucky to have provoked young Master Wang," Renanji said with icy cold eyes as he walked in slowly. Not many people knew what had happened in the 4S showroom. Those who knew did not dare to spread the word around. Gosh, aren't they Xiaoyu and her brother? However, a group of young people saw what had happened just now not far away. They saw Xiaoyu driving out with a brand new pink Bentley. It was a high-class luxury car, Bentley. Jia Wenrui, Jiang Shuang and the rest watched in surprise as the pink Bentley disappeared before them. Her brother is rich. He actually bought her a Bentley. That luxury car costs about $5 million. Gosh, this is incredible. Too incredible. Several young people could not help but exclaim. They never thought that Xiaoyu's brother was that awesome. Jia Wenrui stood there with a mixed expression of fascination and awkwardness. Jiang Shuang was dumbfounded. Apart from being jealous, there was nothing else left for her. Bentley. Her dad was unwilling to buy a Bentley for her. "Senior Wang Xian, you're way too suave. The person whom Director Chui called was so terrified of you. He even gave us a free car." Back in the car, Xiaomi spoke to Wang Xian with admiration. "Brother, you have become so awesome now." Xiaoyu exclaimed too. "Haha, don't you know who your brother is? Your brother is a legend." Wang Xian laughed and replied loudly. Xiaoyu also beamed. "My brother is the best. Where are we going now, brother?" "It's almost evening time. I'll take you to my restaurant for dinner." Wang Xian looked at the time. He gave Xiaoyu the directions too. "Restaurant? Brother, where is your restaurant? Is it near the school?" asked Xiaoyu curiously. "Yes, it's near the school." After talking to Xiaoyu and Xiaomi, the car reached the entrance of the old street half an hour later. "Cars are prohibited inside. You've got to park the car in the parking lot," Wang Xian told his sister. Yes, brother. After they walked out of the car, Wang Xian began to introduce the old street to them. This street is known as the Old Street. You can shop for stuff and have your meals on this street in the future. My restaurant is inside. As they walked, he introduced the delicious breakfast places and some street food to his sister. Xiao Yu nodded her head continuously as she asked questions curiously. Holding her brother's arm, Xiao Yu felt relaxed and happy. This is my restaurant, Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu when they arrived at the entrance of first-grade restaurant. Both of them looked up and were slightly stunned when they saw the restaurant's name. First-grade restaurant, such a familiar name, Xiao Yu murmured. Xiao Yu, isn't this the restaurant that gained popularity on the internet lately? It was known to be the country's best restaurant. Xiaomi thought of the news she read recently and spoke in surprise. Yes, I remember. First-grade restaurant. Brother, never did I expect that the first-grade restaurant belongs to you. This restaurant is famous now. Xiao Yu stared at Wang Xian and cried out in surprise. Come on in. I'll treat you to a big feast tonight. Wang Xian chuckled as he led them inside. Director Wang. Boss. As soon as the greeters saw him, they immediately greeted him. Okay. Wang Xian nodded at them as he looked inside. It was only 6 p.m. and there were almost 80 people in the queue. It was not hard to imagine the popularity of the first-grade restaurant. Director Wang. Upon seeing the arrival of Wang Xian, Manager Huang hurried on his way over. Did you reserve the seat I asked you to? I'm going to treat my sister to dinner. Get the kitchen to prepare two-headed abalone, Atlantic bluefin marlin sashimi, and Chinese bahaba fish gelatin. On top of that, prepare some specialty dishes too, said Wang Xian to Manager Huang. Yes, the seat has been reserved for you. I'll get the kitchen to prepare your dishes. Manager Huang nodded as he swept his gazes across Xiao Yu and Xiaomi behind him. Finally he fixed his gaze on Xiao Yu. Okay. Wang Xian nodded. Then he went into the office and got Guan Shuqing out. Xiao Xian, is this your sister Xiao Yu? Asked Guan Shuqing with a smile. She walked out and spotted Xiao Yu, who looked somewhat alike to Wang Xian. Yes, this is Xiao Yu and this is her best friend, Xiaomi. This is Guan Shuqing and she's your senior from now on. Wang Xian nodded. Hello Xiao Yu and Xiaomi. Guan Shuqing grinned as she waved and greeted them. Hello, sister. Xiao Yu looked at the beautiful and elegant Guan Shuqing. She leaned to Wang Xian and whispered in his ears, Brother, is she my sister or sister-in-law? What are you thinking? Wang Xian patted her head. Let's go for our dinner. Brother, I've realized that I'm simply too happy right now. With good food and nice clothes. Hee, I'm so happy to be attending university. My Xiao Yu will be the little princess from now on. Brother, you are wonderful. Enough of the sweet talk. I'll send you back after dinner. You've been running around for the entire day. Rest well tonight. Report to school tomorrow first thing, and I'll bring you out again. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu grinned at each other. Guan Shuqing was also gazing at them with a smile on her face. Chapter 90 Starting School. Chapter 90 Starting School. The time to report to the university had arrived, and the students turned up at the school one after another. Today was the first official day to report for the freshmen. Nonetheless, the Year 2 and Year 3 students were also rushing back to school. Just like the freshmen, the Year 2 and Year 3 students also had 3 days to report to school. However, there were some students who were responsible to receive the freshmen and had to arrive before their reporting dates. By around 10 in the morning, the entrance of the school had gradually seen students gathering. Moreover, there were cars parked everywhere in the vicinity of the entrance of the school. Scenes of parents bringing their children and walking into the university were common. Several young faces were carrying their luggage while looking around constantly at the campus where they would be spending the next few years of their lives. A pink Bentley drove over and stopped beside the school, drawing the attention of a substantial number of students. Let's find a place to park the car first. The school forbids us to drive the car into the school today. Wang Xian looked at the surrounding cars and spoke to Xiao Yu, who was driving. For the first 3 days of school, many parents would drive their children to school. In order to prevent congestion, the school forbid cars from entering the school. All right, brother. Xiao Yu nodded her head, found a spot and parked the car. Let's go. I'll carry the things and lead you all to the reporting area. After which, we will head to the dormitory to unpack your luggage. Wang Xian said to Xiao Yu and Xiaomi as he dragged along their luggage. Other than some clothes and their laptops, they didn't have many other things in their luggage. Blankets were all issued by the school. After locking the car, Xiao Yu and Xiaomi followed behind Wang Xian eagerly as they looked at the school in front of them with anticipation. Xiao Yu had changed into the new clothes she'd bought the previous day. It was a beautiful long dress from Prada that revealed her fair arms. On her wrist was a watch from Patek Philippe which cost over $880,000. She didn't put on any makeup and had a natural, confident and beautiful smile. If Xiao Yu was a swan the previous day, she was a beautiful phoenix today. An action or a single smile was enough to attract others' attention. It seems like our University of River Town will have another beautiful girl. Wang Xian looked at Xiao Yu and joked. Brother, I have always been an adorable and beautiful girl, chuckled Xiao Yu. Let's go and report. After which, we are going to the dormitory to put down your things. Wang Xian said as he led them to the reporting area. Xiao Yu and Xiaomi had the same specialization and therefore Wang Xian brought them to the same reporting area directly. There were teachers and students sitting at the reporting area. Seeing Xiao Yu and Xiaomi walking over, one of them spoke to Xiao Yu. Junior, take out your enrollment notice and show it to us. I'll get some students to bring you to your dormitory and inform you of the location of your classes. All right. Xiao Yu and Xiaomi took out the notice letter while the student at the side checked for the information of their allocated dormitory room. Wang Yu room 303. Zhang Xiaomi room 305. I'll get some students to bring you there. Let me go, let me go. When one of the boys saw Xiao Yu and Xiaomi, his eyes lit up as he volunteered enthusiastically. It's all right. I'm Wang Yu's brother and I'm also from this school. I know the location. I'll bring them over. Wang Xian stood behind and smiled upon seeing the enthusiastic senior. In university, seniors were like wolves and juniors were little lambs. Many seniors would wait for the arrival of the juniors, ready to pounce when the opportunity arose. Wang Xian dispelled the ideas of that senior immediately. That guy looked at Wang Xian and was speechless. Let's go, I'll bring you guys over. Wang Xian smiled and led Xiao Yu and Xiaomi towards the dormitory. So beautiful. That junior is really beautiful. Behind them, the enthusiastic guy looked at the back view of Xiao Yu and remarked sadly. Luan, I think you should just give up on that idea. The girl sitting in front of the table said to the guy with contempt. Wang Mei, what do you mean by that? Why did you ask me to give up on the idea? I'm known to be attractive. You should take a closer look at that girl. The Prada dress is at least $30,000 to $40,000. Her shoes are at least $4,000 to $5,000. More importantly, if I didn't make a mistake, the watch on her wrist was the latest female model from Patek Philippe and costs more than $800,000. How would such a fair, rich and beautiful girl be fond of you? The girl replied with contempt. That guy was dumbfounded and swallowed his saliva. She's so rich. Xiao Yu didn't pick up the comments from the girl behind her. She was full of smiles while observing the surroundings of the school. Wang Xian stood by her side and was explaining to the girls about the school. This is the female dormitory. Let's go to the third floor. The first few days of school were the only days when a guy could enter the female dormitory legally. Wang Xian brought them to the third floor. This is 303. Xiaomi, 305 is right there. Wang Xian pointed to another room and said to Xiaomi. We aren't in the same room. Xiao Yu commented grumpily. It's fine. We are still staying really close to each other. Xiaomi smiled before continuing, I'll go unpack my luggage. You should hurry too. Xiao Yu nodded her head and entered her own room. Each school dormitory room was for 4 people. The beds were at the top while the study desks were below the beds. When they got in, they noticed that the other 3 girls had arrived. Oh, the last lady is here too. Everyone is here now. All 4 of them. When they just stepped in, a rough manly voice chuckled. Hi, uncle. Xiao Yu looked over and smiled radiantly at the ordinarily dressed middle-aged man. Hi, uncle. Wang Xian also greeted and looked to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man had an honest smile on him and was probably from the rural areas. However, people like this were also the easiest to get along with. Hello. The girl beside the middle-aged man greeted Xiao Yu and Wang Xian shyly. The girl looked young and was very shy. Her eyes were bright and had an exquisite look. Her dressing was a little old-fashioned, a classic example of a village girl. Nonetheless, she looked natural. Hello, I'm Wang Yu. This is my brother Wang Xian. My brother is also from our school and is in year 2. Xiao Yu smiled. I'm Yuan Yuan Yuan. Yuan 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 smiled nervously. Come, let's chat after unpacking, the middle-aged man smiled and said as he extended his hand over to help. It's all right, uncle. We don't have a lot of things to unpack. We can handle it ourselves, Wang Xian smiled and replied. All right, there's still some space here. The middle-aged man laughed. Wang Xian nodded his head. There was a blanket on the bed that wasn't spread open. Wang Xian crawled up the ladder to prepare the bed. As for Xiao Yu, she remained at the bottom to sort out her clothes and computer. They didn't have a lot to unpack and therefore finished quickly. When they were done, the other 3 girls had also finished tidying up with the help of their parents. Come, try some sweet candies from our hometown. We made them ourselves and they taste really good. The middle-aged man took out a bag of snacks from his bag. After opening it, he passed it to the people around him. Come have a try. It's delicious. Chapter 91 Spoiled Girl. Chapter 91, Spoiled Girl. Okay, thank you, uncle. Wang Xian and Xiao Yu took a look at the stuff that the middle-aged uncle passed over. Both of them smiled and took some when they saw the fried brown sugar inside. We don't have much at home. So, I got my daughter to bring some of the hometown specialty for her classmates. Here, try it. The middle-aged uncle gave a good-natured smile and passed on the food to the other 2 families. Another 2 girls came with their parents. One of them was slightly plump and so were her parents. Given their dressing, their family must not have been too poor. The family closer to the balcony was obviously a wealthier family. The girl was tall and slender with a good-looking face. She wore a large white tee with hot pants, revealing her fair thighs with a tattoo on her leg. Her lips were brightly colored with lipstick. Her mother's dressing was trendy and she maintained her figure well. Her father had a slight beer belly with a lavish dress sense, just like the way bosses would dress. Thank you. The family members of the slightly plump girl nodded to the middle-aged uncle with a friendly look as they took some of the food. It's okay for us. The mother of the tall and slender girl gestured, you guys have it. We'll skip. Try them. Don't stand a ceremony. They are tasty. The middle-aged uncle raised his voice as he laughed. The taste is really good. Wang Xian tasted some and nodded his head smilingly. I told you. This is our hometown specialty. But we've got a secret recipe so they taste better than the rest. When the middle-aged uncle heard what Wang Xian said, he beamed as he explained happily. He raised the bag to the family who had declined earlier on. No, really. The plump middle-aged man took a look at the cheap and unrefined plastic bag, frowning as he gestured his rejection. It's okay, try it. I'll pour you some for you to taste it. The middle-aged uncle stood up to share some of the food with them. I told you not to, however, an impatient voice sounded off at this time. The middle-aged uncle froze with an unnatural expression on his face. You kid, the lady spoke as she glared at her daughter. She laughed and said, Fengyao is not someone good with words. Uncle, give it to me. It's delicious, hee. Wang Xian chuckled as he stood up when he saw the middle-aged uncle was somewhat embarrassed. Great, go ahead. It's nothing. Hee. The middle-aged uncle squeezed out a smile on his face, pretending that he did not hear what that girl had said. He rubbed his palms together when he saw Wang Xian was eating. Feeling embarrassed, he said, My daughter Yuan Yuan is a little shy. I hope her classmates will take care of her and that they'll get along well with each other. If you wish to have more sweets, let me know. I'll get Yuan Yuan to bring you some. Yes, my daughter is Su Qian. She has a sweet tooth. Next time, you and Yuan Yuan must get along with each other, along with other roommates, Su Qian's mother said with a smile. Yes, let's get along with each other. The middle-aged uncle chuckled and nodded. My sister and I are studying in this university. But I'm a year 2 student now. If you need any help in Rivertown, you can look for me. Wang Xian smiled. Young lad, you're also from the same school? You must be incredible since both of you made it to the University of Rivertown together. Su Qian's father exclaimed in surprise. Yes. Wang Xian chuckled. That's good then. The middle-aged uncle agreed with a beaming face. We're local people over here. Fengya knows nothing. I hope the rest of the roommates can help her out, the mother of the tall and slender girl said smilingly. Who said I know nothing? The girl pouted in dissatisfaction. What do you know, kid? Do you know how to do your laundry, wash the toilet? The lady stared at her. The girl was slightly displeased as she took out a box of ladies' cigarettes and lit one. Cut the smoking and get along well with your roommates. The plump middle-aged man looked at his daughter before he turned to look at the rest. My kid is pampered. I hope the rest of the roommates can help out in things like cleaning. Thank you. What he said caused the parents of Su Qian to frown, but they did not make any remarks. The middle-aged uncle said nothing either. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and looked at the girl who was smoking. He then turned to her father and asked, "Since you are a local, why doesn't she just stay at home so that it is convenient to take care of her?" Wang Xian was hinting. Our house is far from the school. It would take about an hour to come here from home. The middle-aged man smiled and said. Oh. Wang Xian nodded and continued, I think the four ladies should be responsible for the things in their room. They should do their own cleaning and keep their own things. The room is not big. It won't be tiresome to do these. And, Wang Xian looked at the girl who was smoking and said, it would be best not to smoke in the dormitory for girls. That will affect other people. The atmosphere suddenly froze after Wang Xian spoke. The middle-aged lady frowned immediately. The girl who was smoking was staring unhappily at Wang Xian. You're right. My daughter is too pampered. What has my smoking got to do with you? You're such a busybody. At this time, the girl who was smoking suddenly glared at Wang Xian and rolled her eyes at him. Fenya, how can you say such things? I told you to get along with other roommates. The lady told her daughter off hurriedly. But when she turned to them she said, it's just a lady cigarette. It won't stink. The middle-aged man darkened his expression. He looked at the time and stood up suddenly. It's going to be noon. I'll treat all of you to lunch. It's also a kind of destiny for the kids to be sharing a room together. Let's have lunch together. Yes, let's have lunch together so that the kids can get to know each other, the lady by the side agreed. Well? The parents of Su Qian hesitated as they looked at the middle-aged uncle and Wang Xian. Let's go and have something outside, the middle-aged man stood up again and said. Okay, then let's have lunch together. After much consideration, Su Qian's parents agreed to it. Sure. The middle-aged uncle also agreed. But apparently they had a bad impression of that family and that girl. Wang Xian shrugged his shoulders and stood up with Xiaoyu. The middle-aged man and the lady took the lead and walked out first. Their daughter followed behind. When she walked past Wang Xian, she stared and snorted at him. Wang Xian looked at her as he raised his eyebrow. Brother, this girl is not easy to get along with. Xiaoyu stuck her tongue out to Wang Xian as she whispered. Let's go. We can talk over lunch. I also want to see what they want by treating us to lunch. Wang Xian sneered. Chapter 92, Who dares to say it's not appropriate? Chapter 92, Who dares to say it's not appropriate? Dad, just leave your things here. It's all right. I'll be going off directly after the meal and will not be coming back. I still have to head to the construction site at the latest by tonight. All right then, Dad. Be careful at the construction site. The middle-aged man and Yuan walked at the back of the group. Her father was carrying a gunny sack with some living necessities in it. Wang Xian turned his head over, smiled at the middle-aged man and asked, Uncle, are you working in Rivertown? Yeah, I'm working at a construction site. Yuan happened to be in Rivertown and I thought I'd drop by since it's near. The middle-aged man smiled. From his gunny sack he took out a box of cigarettes. Son, do you smoke? No, I don't. Wang Xian shook his head. It's good to not smoke. It's good. This isn't a good thing. The middle-aged man smiled and put back his cigarette. The group of people headed out of school. The middle-aged plump man and lady were constantly instructing their daughter on some matters. Su Qian and her family walked together with Wang Xian and the middle-aged man, chatting along the way. Xiaoyu and the other two girls seemed to have gotten along well as they smiled and chatted. The group of people headed towards Old Street. Although it was already September, the sun was still very vicious. However, they weren't too far and the whole journey took only 5 minutes. Let's go. I'll bring you guys to the most famous restaurant in the country, first-grade restaurant, for a simple meal. The plump, middle-aged man turned his head around and said to the crowd. First-grade restaurant? Is it the same first-grade restaurant that is insanely popular on the internet recently? Su Qian's father exclaimed with amazement. Yeah, it's that first-grade restaurant. It is also the most luxurious restaurant in Rivertown. The middle-aged plump man smiled and nodded his head. With pride written on his face, he continued, a meal would easily cost several thousand. Let's head there. Our kids will be roommates in the future, and it's also fate that brought us together. It's too expensive, too expensive. Let's just find another place and have a simple meal, Yuan's father quickly remarked. It's all right, it's all right. It's just a meal. Let's go. This meal is on me. The middle-aged plump man waved his hand nonchalantly as he walked ahead. When Xiaoyu heard where they were going, she raised her head and looked at Wang Xian. Wang Xian smiled at her but simply followed behind the middle-aged plump man, who seemed to feel that he was above others, towards first-grade restaurant. This is the most well-known first-grade restaurant in Rivertown. Come, let's go in. At the entrance, the middle-aged plump man spoke to the group and led them in. Welcome. As they entered, the greeters remarked passionately. Are there still tables available? The middle-aged plump man asked. There's only one more left at the main hall, the greeter replied. Your business is really good. It's not even 11:30 am. Let's go in. The middle-aged plump man led the way. Wang Xian and Xiaoyu also followed the group in. Director. When the two greeters saw Wang Xian, they were surprised. Just as they were about to greet him, Wang Xian immediately waved at them, signaling for them to not greet. Wang Xian simply followed behind the middle-aged plump man. The two greeters looked inquisitively at him and didn't continue. Look, these are world-class ingredients. So incredible. The middle-aged plump man looked at the world-class ingredients as he smiled and explained. Yuan's and Su Qian's father walked over inquisitively and were shocked by what they saw. Let's go. Let's have lunch now. When the middle-aged plump man saw their expressions, he nodded his head in approval and walked further in. Arg. At this moment, a scream sounded from the side. My clothes? What are you doing? Don't you open your eyes when you are walking? Look at what you did to my new clothes. Following this, a sharp shriek pierced the atmosphere. Wang Xian looked over in surprise and saw a tall girl sweeping her hands on her clothes with contempt. She had a ghastly expression on her face. I'm sorry. The middle-aged man quickly turned around and apologized when he saw the stain on her t-shirt. Why are you carrying this? Why did you carry such a dirty bag to eat? Don't you know that this is a high-class restaurant? You. The girl was furious and launched a barrage of insults at the middle-aged man. What's the matter, Fengya? The lady by the side looked over and asked, concerned. Mom, look at my clothes. These are new and cost over $2,000. They're stained now. The girl replied furiously. Uncle is walking in front of you. You probably knocked into him when you were distracted from playing on your phone. Wang Xian looked at this unreasonable girl and spoke with an unfriendly expression. If he didn't carry this, how would I knock into it? The girl stared at Wang Xian. We are in such a high-class restaurant to eat. Tell me, why did he bring along such a damned bag? Why is my father's bag a damned bag? It's clear that you knocked into him. Seeing the girl insulting her father furiously, Yuan's face turned red and she wanted to speak up for her father. Do you know where we are? This is first-grade restaurant. You group of country pumpkins. Have you ever been to such a high-class place? Can this thing be brought in? The girl retorted angrily. All right, Fengya. It's just a little dirty and it will be fine after washing. The lady by the side quickly interrupted. Who says that first-grade restaurant doesn't allow him to bring this in? Wang Xian looked emotionlessly at the girl before turning around and seeing the nervous and lost middle-aged man and the unapologetic lady with her husband. Shouldn't he know that he shouldn't bring such a dirty bag here? The girl rebutted. What poor upbringing. You knocked into him and yet tried to blame him for it? Wang Xian spoke to the girl coldly. This time he had no intention to be polite and shouted directly. What are you saying? You are the one with a poor upbringing. Have you been here before? This is one of the highest class restaurants in the entire country. Can this damn thing be brought in? The girl pointed at Wang Xian. All right, Fengya. Stop it. Brat, you should stop too. The middle-aged plumped man frowned and shouted. Shut up. When Wang Xian heard his words, he was enraged. He had never thought that he would encounter such a unique family. Who said that you cannot bring a gunny sack in? Tell me. It's the fault of the parents if the child makes a mistake. Teach your daughter well. Brat, since when are you qualified to criticize my daughter? The lady exploded upon hearing Wang Xian. What's wrong with complaining a little after my daughter's shirt got stained? Besides that, is it appropriate for him to carry a gunny sack here? He can if he wishes. Why is it inappropriate? In this place, who dare to say it's inappropriate? Wang Xian looked emotionlessly at them. At this moment, the quarrel between Wang Xian and them had drawn the attention of the surrounding crowd. Manager Huang was shocked to hear his boss's voice. He immediately ran over. Director Wang, what happened? Manager Huang walked to Wang Xian and asked nervously after seeing his fuming boss. Chapter 93 Get Out. Chapter 93 Get Out. It's okay. Wang Xian shook his head to Manager Huang, who came in and checked on him. Then he turned to look at the middle-aged lady and her daughter. With a cold voice he said, "The first-grade restaurant is my restaurant. What's wrong with my customers carrying a bag when they are dining in my restaurant? Tell me who forbid the bag to be carried here? You know it very well yourself if your daughter is ill-mannered. She was spoilt by you. But I'm telling you this. You can pamper your daughter, but others will not. So don't boss people around. No one is giving in to you here. If you have a temper, I'll beat you till your temper is gone." Wang Xian looked at Manager Huang impatiently and said, "Throw the three of them out. I get annoyed when I see them." "Yes, Director Wang." Manager Huang nodded his head and looked at the three of them. In a cold tone he said, "Please leave the first-grade restaurant. Otherwise we'll chase you out personally." "You?" The middle-aged couple was stunned with mixed expressions on their faces. They did not expect that the young man before him owned the first-grade restaurant. Isn't he just a year 2 student? How could he be the boss of the first-grade restaurant? However, the manager who was staring at them coldly wanted them to get out. The middle-aged man had an embarrassing expression as he clenched his fist tightly. Their daughter was shocked to witness this, and her facial expression changed dramatically. "If you are not going out, don't blame us for it." Seeing that the three of them were keeping still, Manager Huang warned them again. "Fine, you're good." The middle-aged man stared at Wang Xian with a darkened expression as he headed out. The lady was fuming with redness flushing to her cheeks. She glared at Wang Xian angrily as she pulled her daughter out of the restaurant. The girl also stared at Wang Xian ferociously as she followed her parents. "Never did I expect that this lad is the boss of the first-grade restaurant." The middle-aged man walked out with a sullen look. His facial expression continued to change. Given the current strength of the first-grade restaurant, he could somewhat guess how influential the boss was. He was only running a construction business for a property company. Even though his status was not too low, he would not dare to provoke the first-grade restaurant's boss. Her? Just when the plump middle-aged man walked to the entrance, he saw a familiar figure at the door. He stopped walking as an idea came to him. Immediately he put up a smile and greeted him, "Director Sun, I wasn't expecting to see you here." "Hey old Zhao, you're here with your family? Have you eaten?" asked a man with a smile. He was in his 30s and he was slightly taken aback when he looked at the middle-aged man. "No, not," the middle-aged man smiled awkwardly. "I'm meeting a few business friends. Since all of us know each other, let's have lunch together." Director Sun smiled as he invited him. "Director Sun, perhaps you can help me out with one thing." The middle-aged man looked towards Director Sun hopefully with cold radiance flashing in his eyes. Director Sun and he were quite familiar with each other. To be exact, he was relying on the property developers under Director Sun for his livelihood. Director Sun was working in the property developing company as high management with waters that ran deep. His networking power was extensive as he got dozens of helpers at hand to settle those stubborn households who were reluctant to move. Apart from that, Director Sun owned 3 to 4 nightclubs, bars and KTV. Many people who were working in Rivertown had to lower themselves and address him as Second Master Sun respectfully. Director Sun could almost call the shots in the Rivertown. So what if he was the boss of the first-grade restaurant when he could ask for help from Director Sun? Help? What is it about? Director Sun looked at the middle-aged man, puzzled. "Director Sun, just now the boss of the first-grade restaurant threw us out of the restaurant. I hope you can settle this for me," said the plump middle-aged man with a bitter face. "The boss of the first-grade restaurant?" Director Sun was slightly shocked as his expression darkened when he heard it. He looked at the middle-aged man with radiance flickering in his eyes. Why did he chase you out? This, Director Sun, this is a long story. That lad was rude and he actually scolded my daughter. This is simply too much. Director Sun, I can't swallow this down. Since you're so formidable, I hope you can avenge me. I'll repay you handsomely, the middle-aged man said with a solemn face. You're kidding your father? Director Sun looked at the girl beside him and said slowly. What? The middle-aged man asked puzzledly, hearing his weird remarks. It's all right, wait for my news here, Director Sun said to the middle-aged man with a disdainful look in his eyes. Great. When he heard Director Sun's promise, sharp radiance filled his eyes. Thank you, Director Sun, for avenging for me. Tomorrow night I'll treat you to a sumptuous dinner. Okay. Director Sun gave a gentle nod. Director Sun, please have your lunch. I shall not disturb you anymore. The middle-aged man gave a polite smile as he spoke. Director Sun nodded and entered the restaurant. Hubby, is this the formidable Director Sun that you mentioned? The lady beside them overheard their conversation and asked with a pair of beaming eyes. Yes, he's the one. The middle-aged man revealed a thrilled expression. Director Sun has promised that he would avenge for me. A restaurant owner. No matter how famous his restaurant is, he can never outfight Director Sunday. Dad, you should get someone to bash that lad up. He's too arrogant, said the girl ruthlessly as she clenched her fist tight. That's enough. The middle-aged man looked at his daughter and frowned. Can't you stop throwing your temper around? With such a character, how can you make friends in school? I wanted to treat them to lunch so that your roommates could take care of you. Now you ruined everything. But since Director Sun has agreed, that lad is either going to lose his arm or his leg. Who wants them to take care of me? I'm not befriending them. Don't meddle in my affairs, will you? And Dad, don't let that arrogant fellow get away that easily. The girl waved her hands impatiently. You imp. The middle-aged man walked out. What an ignorant fellow. Director Sun turned and looked back at the family who just left with cold-looking eyes. But I have to thank this idiotic fellow. Director Sun raised his eyebrow and grinned as he looked inside the restaurant for Wang Xian. There. His eyes brightened up as he walked to a table in the hall immediately. He still remembered clearly how the young man had shouted at the banquet that night. You might want to ask if Qin Guohui dares to say this to me. Back then everyone was shocked, including him. In particular, old Qin showed up and chased second master Qin out of the Qin family. Not only this, but old Qin even bowed and apologized to him. That scene left a deep impression on him. How formidable could this young man be, such that even old Qin needed to bow and apologize to him? He was only someone from high management under the ruling of Qin family. It was not an exaggeration to say that he looked highly upon this young man. Since there was a chance to fawn upon this young man, he must seize it for sure. Chapter 94, I don't have to do it myself. Chapter 94, I don't have to do it myself. Uncle, please let Manager Huang keep your stuff in the office while we have our meal. On the other side, Wang Xian smiled and spoke to the middle-aged man who was still in shock. Hey son, thank you. You are a really nice person, the middle-aged man recovered and replied. His eyes were a little red from the incident. It's just a small matter. It's fate that brought us together. Wang Xian smiled at the middle-aged man. Let's go and find a seat. With regard to this simple middle-aged man, Wang Xian was fond of him. He still remembered vividly that while living with his sister and grandmother, there was a middle-aged man called Uncle Zhang, who took great care of them. Uncle Zhang was a very nice guy and had been very caring towards him. He also had an honest smile at all times and was passionate about everyone around him. During the harvesting season, Uncle Zhang would always help them, as he knew that Wang Xian's grandmother couldn't take the toll. After their grandmother passed away, it was also Uncle Zhang who helped them with the funeral matters. He had even spent a lot of money because of that. I wonder how Uncle Zhang is right now. I should return and repay him for what he has done for me, Wang Xian thought to himself. The middle-aged man in front of him right now was polite, followed the rules and was similar to Uncle Zhang. A look at him and one could tell that he was a great person. I really hadn't expected you to be the boss of this restaurant. Incredible. Really incredible. To be so outstanding at such a young age. Su Qian's parents were shocked and their eyes lit up while complimenting Wang Xian. I'm just lucky. Wang Xian smiled. Come, let us all take a seat. Let's forget about the unhappy events. As for the girl with a poor upbringing, just ignore her in the future. It will be fine as long as the three of you get along well. Yeah. Su Qian and Yuan nodded their heads while looking at him with eyes of worship. Handsome and righteous. This is the type of guy that every young girl would fall in love with. Yuan, remember to get along with them. These two girls are great friends to have. The middle-aged man said emotionally while caressing his daughter's head. I know it, Dad. Rest assured and don't worry about me. Yuan was sensible and cared a lot about her father. Wang Xian smiled and said, if you encounter any issues in school or River Town in the future, feel free to look for me. Thank you, son. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. The middle-aged man and Su Qian's parents immediately thanked him. It's a small matter. We are all from the same school after all. Wang Xian waved his hand and the seven of them walked to a table. Young Master Wang. At this moment, a young man walked over suddenly and greeted Wang Xian. You are? Wang Xian looked at the young man who had appeared suddenly. Young Master Wang, we met once at the banquet of Old Qin. Perhaps young Master Wang doesn't remember me. This person was none other than Director's son, as he said respectfully. Oh, I'm sorry about it. Wang Xian smiled apologetically but still had doubts about his intentions. Young Master Wang, this is what happened, Director's son said immediately. I bumped into Zhao Jingshan and he told me something. Director's son saw the doubtful eyes of Wang Xian and quickly clarified, Zhao Jingshan is the slightly plump middle-aged man. I just bumped into him and his family at the entrance. You know them? Wang Xian frowned. I'm not close to him, not even close. Director's son explained immediately. Zhao Jingshan is a construction material supplier under Qin family's property company. I'm a manager of the company and am capable of some things. He wanted me to cause you some trouble when I bumped into him at the entrance a while ago. Such a despicable person has to be punished. Young Master Wang, I suggest that I let the company stop working with him. Moreover, I'll ask all the developers in River Town to not work with him. What do you think of this? Director's son asked. I leave this to you. Wang Xian nodded and said to Director Sunday, thank you. Young Master Wang, you are too courteous. It's just a small matter. In that case, I shall not take up any more of your time, Director's son replied immediately with a smile. Wait a minute. But how do I address you? An idea struck Wang Xian as he stopped Director Sunday. Young Master Wang, you can just call me Xiao Sun. When Director Sun heard Wang Xian stop him, he was thrilled. I'll just call you Director Sunday. Director Sun, I have something to trouble you with. Wang Xian looked at him and smiled. This is the father of my sister's classmate. He is currently working at a construction site. Help me keep a lookout if there are any suitable jobs for him. Work? Director Sun was taken aback. Following which, excitement flashed in his eyes. Yes, there is, young Master Wang. We are looking for a security department head and there are also many vacant slots in the quality inspection department, which is recruiting. The salary isn't particularly high but is still around several tens of thousands a month, Director Sun remarked. He turned to the middle-aged man and said enthusiastically, Brother, come look for me. This is my name card and can I get your number? I'll give you a call after lunch. At that time I'll bring you over. The middle-aged man was stunned. Looking at this well-dressed young man, he was at a loss as to what to do. Although the middle-aged man was from the village, he wasn't silly. He could roughly deduce the ability of this young man in front of him. The parents of the girl a while ago were just a small partner of his and they were already doing so well. Currently, this even more incredible person was being so enthusiastic to him. This had completely thrown him off. This Director's son, the middle-aged man stood up immediately. He looked at Wang Xian and waved his hand constantly. Hey son, this wouldn't do. I know what I'm capable of. It's alright if you want me to do some menial work. As for others, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's alright, uncle. You can learn while doing. If you really can't, you are free to switch to a more ordinary job. Wang Xian stood up and patted the shoulder of the middle-aged man. He looked to Director Sun and said, Director Sun, take down my number. If there's anything you can call me directly. I'll contact you directly with regard to this uncle in the future. Sure. Director Sun nodded his head gladly and took out his phone. Alright, let's talk again after lunch. Wang Xian nodded at Director Sunday. Sure. In that case, young Master Wang, have your lunch first. We're going for lunch too. Director Sun nodded his head and smiled. Looking at the shocked look on the middle-aged man, he added, Uncle, take a seat. It's just a small matter. Son, you are truly a great guy. Really? Thank you. I have to thank you. The middle-aged man was so moved that he became incoherent. It's really a small matter. Uncle, you are a great guy and I was just helping you within my means. Wang Xian shook his head and continued, let's eat. If you all are free in the future, ask Xiaoyu to bring you over. Don't stand on ceremony. Thank you, Senior, Yuan replied gratefully. You're welcome. We are roommates and will be living together for 4 years. This is just a small matter. Xiaoyu held on to Yuan's arm and chuckled. Su Qian's parents, who were sitting at the other end, looked at the young man in shock. Without having to do anything, there were people coming over to help eradicate that cocky family. With just a request, he could give the middle-aged man a job that many others desired. They were convinced that they should ask their daughter to be good friends with his sister. Chapter 95, Underworld Affairs. Chapter 95, Underworld Affairs. Brother, where are we going? After Wang Xian settled the middle-aged man, Xiaoyu, Yuan, and Su Qian questioned him after their lunch. It's about 2 o'clock, why don't we? Buzz. Just when Wang Xian was about to take them to the Summer Sun Resort to relax, his phone suddenly rang. Old Shui. Wang Xian took out his phone and looked at the number with surprise. Old Shui seldom called him. It was always Shui Jing who contacted him the most. Hello, Old Shui. Wang Xian picked up the phone and greeted doubtfully. Wang Xian, are you busy? Old Shui's voice was heard on the phone. What's the matter, Old Shui? Asked Wang Xian curiously. There is something that I would like to discuss with you. Old Qin is with me too. I wonder if you're free in the afternoon. Wang Xian hesitated before he nodded. Okay, I'll pop by. I'll send you the address or I can get someone to pick you up. I can go over on my own. You can just send me the address. Sure, see you later. Wang Xian nodded and hung up. He glanced at Xiaoyu and the other 2 girls with a shrug of his shoulders. Xiaoyu, I can't keep you company in the afternoon. I've got something going on. That's great. It would be inconvenient for the 3 girls to follow you around too. Besides, we can check out the school too, said Xiaoyu to Wang Xian with a smile. You little one, go ahead and have fun. I've got to go. Wang Xian patted her head and followed them to the school. He came to the back of the dormitory and rode on his Harley motorcycle before he headed to the place Old Shui sent him. Wow, Xiaoyu. The Harley motorcycle that your brother is riding is so cool. Do you think I could stand a chance with him after I slim down? Su Qian looked at Wang Xian with affectionate eyes. She then looked at her plump figure with dissatisfaction. My brother seems to have a girlfriend. But if you slim down, I'm sure you will be gorgeous. Xiaoyu chuckled as she spoke. You're very kind, said Yuan gratefully as she gazed at Wang Xian who had left and Xiaoyu who was right by her side. That's enough. I wanted to get my brother to bring us out. But since he has something on, we can walk around and get some daily necessities. We should also decorate our room too. The address that Old Shui sent him was not Summer Sun Resort. It was another place. An area that was near the sea with many villas, bamboo forest estate. When he reached it, Wang Xian made a call, and Shui Jing rushed over soon after. Brother Wang Xian, you're here. My grandfather and Old Qin are waiting for you. What did Old Shui and Old Qin ask me here for? Wang Xian asked Shui Jing curiously. Shui Jing paused before he said, should be something to do with the underworld affairs. Underworld affairs. Shui Jing nodded slowly. There were 2 ecosystems in the current modern world, society and underworld. Underworld was a place for people who possessed domineering powers. Wang Xian followed Shui Jing into the villa, which was surrounded by a bamboo forest. Along the path, he found a quiet stream with a small bridge that made a picturesque scene. From the wooden door, he entered into a courtyard where he could see some nostalgic and posh-looking houses. In the courtyard were some ponds with ornamental fish. Old Qin and Old Shui were sitting under a willow tree on the left, drinking their tea. Wang Xian is here. Both Old Shui and Old Qin smiled and greeted him as they saw him. Sorry to keep both of you waiting. Wang Xian smiled and sat on the seat beside them. Shui Jing was filling a cup of tea for him. I just arrived not long ago too. Old Qin smiled and shook his head. We wanted to discuss something with you today. Hence we invited you over. What is it about? Wang Xian took a sip of tea and asked. Let me explain. Old Shui straightened his posture with a solemn expression. It has something to do with the underworld. Something has been brewing in the underworld these past 2 days. Those hidden clans and sects revealed themselves one after another. I'm afraid there will be upheavals in the underworld soon. Oh. Wang Xian expressed his curiosity. Hidden clans? Hidden sects? That's right. The #1 ancient martial arts family in Rivertown, Yin family, returned yesterday after staying out of underworld affairs for 20 years. The Ling Luo sect of the provincial city began their recruitment of disciples all of a sudden. Fierce battles broke out between the two sects in the north due to some cultivation treasures. A sect in the eastern sea announced that they will be expanding and recruiting more disciples. The Sacred Followers Guild began their recruitment too. Old Shui explained this slowly to him. Yin family? Disciples recruitments? Wang Xian was deep in thought. Why did these hidden clans and sects start their recruitments all of a sudden? Because they wanted to compete for resources in advance. Old Shui frowned and continued, currently the cultivation resources are lacking. It is even scarce when we're now in the modern era. These hidden clans needed more people to search for resources, tackle other living creatures and refine medicines. Other living creatures? Wang Xian was stunned as he raised his eyebrows. Yes, Wang Xian. You may not know these. Humans are not the only domineering ones on Earth. There are also other creatures around. Let's not go into the mysterious ocean. Numerous spirits and monsters lie in the mountains and rivers too. Creatures like sea monsters that lurk around various lakes and the well-known monsters in the mountains are all spirits and monsters. Just like Jianghu Lake in the river town. I'm sure you would have heard of all the tales about the sea monsters in Jianghu Lake. Upon hearing that, Wang Xian nodded his head gently. Jianghu Lake was a lake that connected to the sea. The lake was huge with a depth of 178 meters. He knew about the tales with regards to the sea monsters in Jianghu Lake, but he did not pay attention to it. The tales about the water and sea monsters have always been around. But not all are rumors. They really exist. Currently we're lacking cultivation resources. Hence we need to find other ways to them. Just recently someone caught some powerful creatures to enhance their own strength, and the effect was significant. Currently various ancient martial artist families surfaced just to compete for these resources. The underworld will be greeted with bloodshed and brutal fights again. At that time, not only the hidden ancient martial artist families will be involved, but ancient sects might also join in too. Wang Xian listened quietly to the conversation between Old Qin and Old Shui. From the conversation, he had a deeper understanding of the cultivation techniques of the various clans and sects in this world. Currently not only the ancient martial arts existed, but there were also ancient yoga, ninjutsu, Western bloodline art and beast transformation art. But, in actual fact, all cultivation arts may seem different but they were similar to each other. Towards the later stages of the cultivation, all the goals of the cultivations were the same. Wang Xian not only learned about the cultivation arts, but he also found out a lot of anecdotes about the underworld's mountain spirits and sea monsters. That's interesting. Sea monsters? Currently my cultivation speed is too slow. Perhaps I can devour them or recruit some sea monsters to build up the Dragon Palace as soon as possible. Wang Xian pondered to himself. He was not concerned about those hidden clans which surfaced in the underworld again. He trusted himself. And the dragon sect which was developing rapidly. Chapter 96, Prime Minister Turtle, 1. Chapter 96, Prime Minister Turtle, 1. There was still another reason why Old Qin and Old Shui invited him over for a discussion, and that was strength in numbers. They hoped that Wang Xian would ally with them and that they could help one another out. When Wang Xian understood their thinking, he hesitated for a moment before agreeing to the suggestion. The reason as to why Wang Xian chose to ally with Old Qin and Old Shui wasn't because of their strength. Instead he felt that Old Qin and Old Shui were nice people and worthy friends. Otherwise, with his current strength and the powers of the dragon sect, it wasn't necessary for him to ally with them. When he walked out of the meeting with Old Qin and Old Shui, it was already 8 p.m. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before heading towards the sea. He hadn't been back for a few days and was wondering about the progress of the establishment of Dragon Sect. At the seaside, Wang Xian removed his clothes and easily jumped out over 10 meters. Splash! After letting out a light roar, Wang Xian transformed into a 5 meters long divine dragon. 5 elements divine dragon with 5 different colors. Wiggling his body, Wang Xian swam towards the island in the middle of the sea at an incredible speed. Executing water-controlling techniques along the way, he arrived at the island 5 kilometers away in a single minute. There are quite a number of boats around. Wang Xian noticed a few boats around the island. The island was brightly lit and he could see some figures moving on the island. With a thought, an invisible dragon power spread towards the island. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Soon, several figures descended by the seaside. Dragon King. Dragon King. Mo Qinglong and his disciple, together with all the Dragonians, rushed over and kneeled down in front of Wang Xian with respect. Martial Artist Level 6. Not bad. To be able to reach Level 6 in such a short time. Wang Xian looked towards the group of Dragonians before turning his attention to Mo Qinglong and his disciple. Mo Qinglong had already reached the Inborn Realm and his disciple had reached Martial Artist Level 8. What's the progress of establishing Dragon Sect? Wang Xian looked at the island and asked. Dragon King, we are right on track. In just about another month, Dragon Sect will be established. At that time, our might will definitely spread through the world. Mo Qinglong's eyes lit up as he reported. Great. Cultivate diligently. Wang Dehai nodded his head. Flipping backward, he dove back into the sea. Sending off the Dragon King. The group of Dragonians kneeled down and shouted in unison. Wang Xian went over to the Clam Girl. Clam Girl opened her shell slowly and revealed her human form. She immediately greeted him. Wang Xian nodded his head before devouring the marine animals in the sea. Bohai Sea is too shallow. The variety of fish is too limited. After devouring a small shark, Wang Xian sighed emotionally. Currently he was about 80 kilometers from land. However, the seas were only about 18 meters deep. There were barely any schools of fish around. As compared to the other sea regions where the depth of water could reach over 1,000 meters, Bohai Sea was too shallow. If he wished to increase his level, Bohai Sea would be hard to satisfy his desire. To increase my level, it would be more effective to look for higher-level marine animals. Higher level. Wang Xian pondered. Suddenly, a place appeared in his mind. Jianghu Lake. There was a rumor about a huge sea monster in Jianghu Lake 4 years ago. Some people reported seeing a huge sea monster that resembled a grinding disc. It had a huge oval-shaped body. Some people caught it in a photograph where one could vaguely see a monster larger than boats surfacing from the water. However, as the distance was too far, some said that it wasn't a sea monster but just some reflections. There were also people speculating that it should be some giant sharks or similar marine animals that had swam into Jianghu Lake. Everyone had their own explanations and this even attracted a group of researchers. They conducted a search of the entire Jianghu Lake but didn't detect any ginormous animal. Therefore this ended without a conclusive answer. However, the rumors of a sea monster in Jianghu Lake didn't just stop there. There were still people claiming to encounter the sea monster from time to time. However, none had concrete evidence and no one had seen how the sea monster really looks. Old Qin and Old Shui talked about the sea monster of Jianghu Lake today. In that case, there might really be a powerful sea monster. Wang Xian thought. Based on his impression, he swam quickly towards where Jianghu Lake was located. Jianghu Lake was connected to the Bohai Sea. However, since it was deep between the lands, many simply referred to it as Jianghu Lake. Jianghu Lake covered an area of approximately 20 kilometers. After passing through an entrance of over 100 meters in length and 40 to 50 meters in breadth, Wang Xian entered Jianghu Lake. Who would have expected Jianghu Lake to be deeper than Bohai Sea? It's at least 20 meters deep here. Wang Xian was slightly shocked. The waters of Jianghu Lake were a little murky. Moving his body, he dove in directly. The dragon energy I needed for cultivation is too high now. Ordinary fish don't provide sufficient dragon energy. If there are higher-level marine animals, my cultivation speed would also be quicker. Wang Xian thought. Swaying his tail, he swam towards the middle. The distance of 20 kilometers wasn't far from Wang Xian. He swam to the middle and started observing the surroundings. There were few marine animals around. This was a little strange for a lake so huge. A golden light shot out from Wang Xian's eyes as he looked at the surroundings carefully. He swam in the vicinity while searching, but couldn't find anything unusual. How can there be nothing? If it is like what the people on the internet have said, the sea monster should be at least 10 meters long. I should be able to find it. Wang Xian's eyebrows knitted together, but he continued swaying his tail slowly. Growl. A dragon roar resounded in the Jianghu lake. Wang Xian released all his aura to announce his arrival at Jianghu lake. The current Wang Xian could spread his dragon power to cover a radius of 2 kilometers. All the marine animals within the area were shivering and didn't dare to budge an inch. The water of Jianghu lake was ravaged without cause. Growl. Wang Xian swam to another person and let out another roar. His dragon roar resounded throughout the entire Jianghu lake. Swish. At this moment Wang Xian could sense something to his back. He immediately turned over and stared at the bottom of the lake. Indeed, the sea monster truly exists. Wang Xian looked forward, and in the direction he was facing, a huge animal was floating up gradually. It seemed to have been lying on the bottom of the water with its entire body sunk into the mud. As he floated upwards slowly, the mud on his body slowly fell off. The image of the giant shell became clearer and clearer to Wang Xian. On the shell, there were small sharp edges that looked like it was made from mud. So big, so big. At the front of the large shell that spanned at least 10 meters, a head slowly extended out. His head was black and had sharp edges on it. Although its eyes were black, it had a glow that could be seen through the water in the middle of the night. Who are you? He opened his mouth and let out a roar, showing creepy-looking teeth. He looked directly at Wang Xian. It has intelligence. When Wang Xian heard this dinosaur-like turtle's growl, he was slightly shocked. Spiritual turtle, level 10. Extractable dragon energy, 123,272. A level 10 spiritual turtle? That's equivalent to an inborn realm expert. Wang Xian was shocked and his eyes lit up with excitement as he stared at this spiritual turtle. Chapter 97, Prime Minister Turtle, 2. Chapter 97, Prime Minister Turtle, 2. I am the Dragon King, the world's only true dragon. Wang Xian slightly lifted his head and stared at the spiritual turtle. Succumb to me or you'll get devoured by me. Succumb? I'm the turtle ancestor. You're just a mere dragon king, and you have the cheek to ask me to succumb to you? Ignorant. The spiritual turtle had a high intelligence as he stared coldly at Wang Xian with a tilting head. His eyes had a disdainful look in them. Even though he could sense the domineering strength from the odd creature in front of him, he was not afraid as his physical size was larger than it. Besides, he had lived for thousands of years. As the ancestor of the turtles, how could he succumb to anyone? Turtle ancestor. Wang Xian was a little stunned when he heard the spiritual turtle calling himself the turtle ancestor. It was unexpected for him to encounter a cocky spiritual turtle. If that's the case, you're choosing the second alternative. Wang Xian swung his tail gently as he gazed at the gigantic spiritual turtle. Courting your own death. Since you interrupted my sleep, I'll eat you up. The spiritual turtle opened his mouth wide as he attacked Wang Xian without any fear. He shook his body and the mud around the area spread out. The entire region turned murky and the visibility dropped. Earth control? Once again, Wang Xian displayed a surprised look when he saw the fluctuation in the surrounding earth. This was the most formidable marine animal that he had ever encountered. Not only did the creature have intelligence, it even had superpower. I know earth control too. Wang Xian displayed a cold smile on his face. He slightly wriggled his body, and the soil in the murky sea was filtered from the water. The soil then gathered and formed into a ball of dirt. When the surrounding water was cleared, Wang Xian saw the spiritual turtle, which had swum to a location within 5 meters away from him. A smirk surfaced on his face. Earthy Thorn. Earthy Thorn was a simple technique in his earth control arts. The current Wang Xian was still too weak, and he had yet to master his control of the 5 elements. If he grew stronger, he could control all the surrounding earth and bury everything around it. You can control the earth too. The spiritual turtle was taken aback when he saw the incoming earthy thorn. However, there was no fear in him as he lowered his head slowly. Bam! The earthy thorn landed on the durable shell of the spiritual turtle, leaving no trace on it. Go to hell. The spiritual turtle suddenly accelerated as he opened his enormous mouth to bite Wang Xian. Upon seeing the dense and sharp teeth in his mouth, Wang Xian knew that he could bite off a piece of meat from him if he were caught in it. Go and die. Wang Xian looked at the spiritual turtle with a disdainful look in his eyes. Even though he was only level 6, he had no fear when confronted by creatures who were of inborn levels. As a 5 elements divine dragon, level 10 marine animals could not pose any threat to him. Metal counters wood, wood counters earth, earth counters fire, and fire counters metal. The 5 elements reinforce and counteract each other. The colors on Wang Xian's body changed and turned green eventually. The azure dragon with wood attribution can counteract all earth in the world. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claws with thistles and thorns slithering and twining themselves around the mouth of the spiritual turtle. Roar! Wang Xian let out a dragon roar while exhaling a gush of green breath. As the green breath hit the aquatic plants in the surrounding area, the plants began to shoot up frantically. The water plants entangled themselves to form ropes. They slid towards the spiritual turtle and entwined the spiritual turtle. In an instant, the spiritual turtle was trapped within the woody field which spanned across a radius of 20 meters. Such a powerful 5 elements reinforcement. Looking at the woody field that he created, Wang Xian was rather surprised. When he was in the human form he was 5 times weaker than he was in dragon form. Hence, he was unable to create such a powerful woody field. Moreover, he was unable to interchange the 5 elements when he was in human form. Surprise! You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.